9 member pinches.
Okay.
A missionary.
2 rhinos?
2 rhinos.
Of course.
Why
wouldn't you?
2 crusaders. Watch out!
Wait, this is a 2-man unit. They're
2-man
storm
unit.
shields?
Power level 1.
Ah! So you mean they're crusaders scrambling?
They have storm shields and scrambled eggs.
I used to remember guard ones with the 2 up invo.
Oh yeah.
I had bad experiences with that.
I happen to be painted with painted ones because that was something that Colin had from all those days ago.
So alright, man.
I also have 5 seraphim with 4 hand flamers and 4 Zephyrim, which are the power things.
Yeah, I feel like the list I'm running is okay, and it's not a bad list, but I feel like I am playing into a very good list. Hey, there it is.
Games where today's going to see Chuck's on Zach's Imperial Guard. The mission's going to be 22 battle lines. I'm John. I'm going to be joined later on by my co-host here, Alex McDougall. He's going to be joining me here in a little bit, and we're excited to take in this penultimate game of the day on Stream 2. Of course, we're all coming together for Hammer Out Cancer. If you go to charityhammer.com, you can donate.
Let's do this with the models.
For every $30 that you donate, you are entered into a prize pool to win a bunch of amazing prizes. Let's go to the table and see secondary-wise what we're doing with Chuck and Zach.
Oh, you have Zephyr? Or this here?
1 of each.
You have Zephyr on 4 rolls to win native, right?
Yep.
I really like that. That's good.
And they can give an aura reroll ones sometimes with a CP. So I got Junith.
I had no idea what she looked like.
2 heavy flamers. Driving around with her little chariot of.
She's just rerolls hit and wound, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna like her to another model that also does that, but I just can't remember which one. So I feel like an idiot.
The Repentia.
Trajan. That's it.
Alright, Trajan. 1 5-man distributor, 2 6s. Each of the 6 have little
Simulacrum.
Sure.
Let's use 2 miracle dice, right?
This we use an extra miracle dice on this unit. I can use one over here and then use one on them, or use one on them.
It's 1 per base, or 2 on them.
Or I like 2, which is often like that.
Or 2 punch through.
I would like to do 12 damage.
Take 9 damage.
Yeah.
18 damage.
There's 2 mercenaries.
I didn't know I had their own Rhino kit.
Huh?
I didn't know they had their own Rhino kit with extra bits.
This is the.
Immolator?
There's 2. The immolator, there's a Rhino kit,
and
an immolator kit, and the extras kit, and they're all a little.
It's 1 kit, but.
No. It's 3 different, very different things.
Oh, it's not 1 box that has all the stuff in it?
Mm-hmm.
These are not the same picture.
Yeah, so I'm kind of hoping to mix and match them up a little bit so they can all be very different.
That's cool. I like it. And those are just both immolators, 2 multi-meltas?
Yeah. Just, all the multi-meltas.
I think my tanks are not long for this game board.
There's some walls.
Well, my manticores will sit here and live all game. The tank commanders are just going to get smoked whenever they're going to poke their head out, kill something, and die.
They're trade pieces.
Yeah, they are. I'm just trying to imagine how I'm going to trade them faster than I like.
Oh no, the trades won't be good.
We just say they trade well, Zach. We just said they trade.
Yeah.
That's legit. Actually, I don't mind playing 10 games, but I think the problem is I played 10 games with.
Are you in 10 games as well?
Yeah. I played 10 games with 100 guard models.
Gotcha. Gross.
So my last game against the Bugs, I went first. Both my conscripts had orders, and every advance roll was a 5 or 6.
Oh god.
And so I was like, okay, well I'm on your deployment zone now. Let's do this. It was bad.
I'm gonna go grab my pad so.
Sorry. In your blue dash, is that a battalion?
No, it's whatever Vanguard. No. Yeah, that's the Vanguard.
At least sure, because we're
Gotcha.
Yeah. I'll just ask this question more directly. If I outflank things, am I ever going to bring them where I want, or just going to do it now?
I don't have that much screen. It depends if you do no damage, you might.
Okay. I'll outflank some of my plasma at least. I mean, at least there's a very good chance I'm just going to make your Repentia crash into some form of guardsman. Which, I mean, fine. Like, your Repentia have to punch something. I am most okay with them punching guardsmen.
I'm actually pretty excited to see how. So I played against your list without the conscript lost a couple times. So I was really kind of interested to see.
How did you do against them?
It's a mix. I haven't played with this army really, so it doesn't.
You know, my experience so in my last game against Bugs, on no turn did I get off both the Invo and the Psychic Barrier, which is statistically very improbable. They both cast on a 6, like, and I spent CP. But if I get them both off on big level conscripts, my experience is that they're very hard to move.
We got it.
I mean, Repentia going into them would do work, but they wouldn't get all of them.
Yeah.
They get like half of them.
Yeah.
And Repentia are ×2 -3/2, and they're +1 strength in the charge, right? So it's 8/3/2.
They're +1 attack on the charge.
Oh, they're not +1 strength? Okay, so it's 6/3/2 with 4 attacks to the nerve.
6/2/2.
Oh, it's only 8/2?
Yeah.
I've been pleased.
Oh no, it's AP3. I get a +1 AP.
Right. Because you're bloody
Sorry,
right.
I've been beating my demons. I forgot all that.
Oh, it's AP and attack, not strength and.
Correct. That's my bonus. And then I can get a +1 to wound you from a strike.
I'm a bigger fan of Ispan 5 myself.
Oh yeah?
You know.
You should try it. It's a nice place.
Actually, I think which was which. I'm going backwards. One was drop site, one was the fight. I think 3 was the drop site, right? And 5 was the actual fight.
I believe this is the drop site.
Yeah, the 5 was the fight. Yeah. There's actually, I hate to say this, there's like no fresh air on Ispan 3.
Hey guys, you're live and 9
Oh.
minutes in.
Oh yeah?
Oh, cool.
You want to
Yeah,
play
just-
40k or?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it, man.
Just let you know.
So in terms of secondaries, how many bodies you got?
Not enough. I didn't pick up secondary.
I mean, can I get 5 or 10 points out of it? Like, how many is not enough? Like, we're talking under 80?
30, 40, 50, 60, maybe 80.
That is not enough.
I got 4 bring it down once.
Is Judith not a vehicle?
She's a vehicle.
Oh, it's only 4 now, right?
That would be 5 if you killed them.
Oh, that's terrible. You don't go any second. How many characters you got?
3.
I don't like getting again.
They're all support characters.
Yeah, I'm not going to get your mainlays. On the bright side, I get within the ranks. I actually do look at this. Like,
I don't think I want to put it to your tanks.
You know the funny thing is, at this point, I am absolutely familiar enough with the secondaries to pick without looking. But whenever I can't figure out what to take, I always look and I'm like, "Huh, what am I going to take?"
Yeah, there's nothing here. But it's like hopeful staring.
Exactly.
What's the mission one? That's probably.
Battleline. I think it's hold the middle, right? It's like battleground. Yeah, it's battleground. It's hold on the beginning of your turn.
Hold all the way to the next turn.
I might actually be able to do that.
Yeah.
I'll take battleground. Are you gonna keep score for us?
Sorry, what's that?
Are you keep score for us?
Sure.
Thanks, Chuck. I appreciate it. I really don't want to try to do it right now. So if I take while we stand, we fight, it goes on 2 of my Russes
Mm-hmm.
and a block of conscripts.
Well, that's very interesting. It seems like the rest is.
The problem is Russes are already on your list of things you might want to kill.
Yeah, you make that choice if you're never going to use them.
Correct. They will literally only get to shoot 30 inches, like barely sometimes.
I know, because if I come out of a tank and then I shoot 36, that's
Yeah.
you don't actually you literally just like put them in this L and you're like, I hope nobody ever comes over here.
Yeah, like I might
That's
occasionally
bad.
poke the barrel out the corner and shoot you if for some reason the lane's clear. I think that's a really terrible idea. How many small unit sisters do you have that I'm able to see?
Small units?
Yeah,
Oh, like the 5 mans? I
Yeah,
figured
can-
5 mans.
okay, how many in the Zephyr?
5 each.
And 5 Seraphim?
Uh-huh.
Is it how many Seraphim squads?
One of each. One
One Seraphim, one Zephyr.
Yep.
So I might actually be able to grind them down.
Yeah.
But oh man. I'm feeling a whole lot of feel bads here. I'll take domination because at the end of my turn, and I can just jam guard squads.
Oh,
in.
sure. Yeah, that's a good one.
If I'm taking the other one, I may as well, right?
Yeah,
Those
it's
go
like
together.
vital and domination are basically saying.
They're real similar. I mean, at least domination is the mitzvah of being at the end of your own turn.
You're getting ahead of me here. I don't think I have a.
I don't think anything I'm telling you is going to change your choices.
All we say isn't going to work as many quarters.
Who would it be?
It's the retributors.
Oh,
So
I mean, they're on my list already.
yeah, you're going to kill them. So there's no reason for me
To pay me for
to
it.
give you 5 points for doing it. Banners is bad. Deploy is bad. Here are any witches. I may be actually killing tanks. I think.
Good thing don't take ground like that. I'd always stand, right?
Banners.
Yeah, so there's actually a very small area you have to block off to stop me from deep striking into scramble.
Yeah.
Like a single unit right here,
Uh-huh.
and you can't deploy into scramble. So that's bad. I would need actual silence if I wasn't going to try that. You know, banners is bad, but it's 5 points.
I think you're better off with banners than I am. Because you can get some out of the center.
It is theoretically possible I could put a constant bottom and keep a banner here for a couple turns.
Mm-hmm.
There is a world where that might happen.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Also last turn.
What's that?
And the last turn.
Yeah, it's possible. Actually, going second in this match might be
Huge.
helpful for someone, right? It's almost a guaranteed 15 with his layout.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'll take banners because I don't know what else to take.
Sure.
I have domination already. I took domination and grind them down in banners.
No, domination, vital intelligence, or whatever. The mission. One.
Yeah, that's fine. That's just good. Do I want banners or grind? Am I gonna kill more units than you much?
Well, what are you gonna do with banners? You're gonna get 5? You're gonna kill more than me twice? Yes.
Yeah, take it. Yeah, that's
Right.
right. That's your lucky guy. If I'm lucky, I might even do it 3 turns.
You had me at shit, right?
Exactly. I had banners at 10.
I'm struggling with the last one as well.
I think we were just talking about this. So you get to look at that.
Stare at these things and see how my options suck.
Yeah, you look at this like, wow, it still sucks.
What's your assassinate look like?
So I have an astropath, 3 company commanders, and an inquisitor. If you're killing them, I'm out of models.
Yeah. Well, it's I'm gonna do the bring it down and like
And you're at 4 points.
4, 5 points. You know what? No. You know what's better?
What's that?
Spanners. It's 5 points.
And maybe.
And maybe last turn I pick up 3 instead. Right? Like that feels horrible, but I do think.
But it's 5 points. It might work for more.
Yeah. It's easy to do at least. I'm not wasting anything on it.
You know what's gonna happen here? I haven't played a system with anything except my Blighthaller spam, and that's actually a bad match for the Blighthaller unless you're good on your 4, and I wasn't. So this will be fun for me to play this otherwise, and we're gonna have a great time.
Yeah.
So this is actually really close to our deployment zones. It's almost a normal move.
To get on it?
Yeah.
Nice.
It's like it feels like this. That's because this is very center.
The mat is not a full
Oh, that's
60, so yeah.
Now it's more equidistant. This is a little over 6. You still have an advanced issue in the past.
I'm going to put the units in the vehicles, the characters in the vehicles with the units, and then I am going to outflank.
Is it just 1 squad of retributors in each?
Yep, 1 archers each, and then sisters and missionaries and the rhinos.
Oh, we forgot the Serranos there. Okay.
And then retributors, the other Repentia, and the crusaders will go out for 2 CP.
So you're not showing any retributors on the board.
There'll be 2 of them in the tanks.
Right.
I'm not starting any of them in. You just get to pick up my spot for free zone. Yes.
But I like that. I think that's great, Chuck.
Oh.
Hey guys, what second is your pick?
Right here. Not that that's super legible. Here. Then the ranks engage banners, vital domination, grind them down.
So I have 7 CP. I'm gonna go ahead and put all the plasma and 2 company commanders on together. You're shocked by that, aren't you?
I've never seen this before. So what happens next?
Next, your sisters introduced me to the wide world of pegging.
It's going deep.
I think that's what's gonna happen. I think it's gonna go 12-inch retributor deep. You wanna just roll off and whoever loses has to deploy first?
Sure.
I got 2.
I got 1.
Hey!
It's me.
Give me that sweet info about where a 5-minute sister squad is going.
Oh, I might be. That's too much data.
That's way too much.
Hospitaler.
Oh, I'm gonna learn in the vague. Is that the 6 up feel of pain?
Nope.
What's it do?
She can heal or bring a guy back.
Oh,
She's,
I was really disappointed that the Death Guard's leg surgeon is just the most flavorless thing ever. It's just a 6 up feel of pain and heals D3. No strat support, nothing, nothing at all. Some of their support characters are cool though. This is just gonna blow your mind. My poor man right there.
alright, 5 sisters.
Oh, now you're showing me the 5 sisters, all that info. I'm just shocking you again with another Manicore right behind that.
Are you gonna put Manicores in the same place I'm putting sisters right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only difference is that my models do a little something from there. Though it's, I mean, yeah.
I feel good about what my sister's gonna be doing from over here, so you know.
All right, I love it. Alright, well, I think, so I don't know how, is this just a solid box and passable?
Yeah, I think that's the best way to.
My conscripts include some of these white guys because I was out of models.
You're playing with them painted models?
No, they're painted, they just don't match the other ones.
Oh.
I get 10 points for a painted bonus.
No.
We don't do that here.
Yeah, these are
Let him say something. Here we go.
alright. I can get my giant ass box up the screen.
So yesterday, one of my guardsmen moved off the extra top table and demonstrated the grenade strat for me. And now I have I have Lieutenant Sam who has no arms. He has his legs. Lieutenant Sam has no arms.
As long as you can throw grenades. Oh, wait.
Lieutenant Sam, how are you gonna shoot a gun? You ain't got no arms.
What's the Manicore's AP?
2.
2?
Well, where's your valorous heart to ignore that?
That's why you're even trying.
I know. See, Lieutenant Sam.
Poor guy.
I don't know where the arms are. He's never getting those back.
Put some syrup over here.
Okay, back in action, guys.
It is funny he's a
Ready
conscript
to
though.
rotate another game.
So he somehow, I don't know if he's gonna bite the trigger of his gun and hit you on 5s.
The effectiveness of a guardsman.
Just
Now we're back in and ready to go. We're going to be playing Mission 22 here, Battle Lines. Chuck versus Zach. Now that we have our secondaries in order, of course, Zach coming off of just a really nice win against Tyler's Tyranids. And as the guy said earlier, secondary-wise, we have Chuck, who took thin the ranks, which is great against this guard army. Engage in all fronts, and Banners. Banners is going to be super good for him, engage in all fronts as well. The way that his sister's army is going to move forward is going to be a really good scoring one for him. Zach is taking the mission-specific vital information. Oh, I'm sorry, not the mission-specific vital information there at all. Or the vital ground even, I should say. And then bring it down and grind them down. So it's going to be a lot of killing-based games here, whereas maybe last game it was more objective-based. Going to be super exciting to see what Chuck does. Exciting to see what Zach does. Of course, Battle Lines, Hammer and Anvil deployment. We have 4 objectives total. And our primary mission is control 1 for 5 points, control 2 for 5 points, control more for 5 points. It's going to be super hard in these 4 objective missions. So we're going to see some really aggressive play early on, I think, to kind of run out there. It's going to be key for this is going to be Zach's conscript squads, those large bubbles of objective secure. are going to really hold some mid-table for him. So it's going to be nice to see Chuck play around those. Again, all of these games are happening this weekend for Hammer Out Cancer, which you can find at charityhammer.com. Donate at the site there, and it enters you into a raffle. For every $30 you donate, you get one entry. There are tons of great prizes. There are Frontline Gaming mats from Chapter Tactics and Frontline Gaming. There's a fully commission painted 2,000 point Necron army and a pro painted one, and literally pro painted, not just fake pro painted like on eBay. And then a whole orc horde and a whole lot of smaller kits too, including a Catachan Colonel, which is a very rare model. So you can get all those charityhammer.com. We're seeing some real conservative deployment here. Zach has his conscripts right up on the line, but those two Manicores hiding right up at the back. And then Chuck equally taking advantage of all of those windowless ruins to kind of hide as much as possible here. It's going to be some real KG play early on. Again, it looks like we are going to be fighting for the middle here. A great point of 9th in general, but even more so in this mission where we want to hold more to maximize those 15 points every turn. Looking down at the table here, we have a couple of obvious lanes of fire, but everything's kind of broken up so that there's not too many obvious ones. The Manticores are going to do great work for this. They don't need line of sight. They're going to do flat 3 damage, so they're going to take out a lot, and it's really going to help Zach score his secondaries there. It's going to bring some stuff down with those Manticores. There's some unfortunate objective positioning here, especially with Chuck trying to raise some banners, which is thankfully not his turn, but it's going to really put him out in the open against a lot of fire. Those two middle objectives fairly out in the open. So they're going to, he can grab them, but it's going to cost him quite a bit to kind of get there. It looks like a little bit's hanging out in those L's, but oh man, and Danny being a champion, linking the list in chat of what's going on here.
John, anytime.
Danny, come to rescue the stream by making it listenable. Always appreciate you jumping on.
Yeah, no problem, man. Happy to help out. Did we lose Alex? That's too bad.
That's too bad. Yeah, it's like if anyone should have been lost, it was me, but that's okay. So we are doing, just to recap, mission 22, battle lines. Chuck has chose thin the ranks, engage all fronts, and banners as a secondary. And I was just talking through how those two center objectives are going to be pretty, you're going to have to sacrifice some stuff to get banners there just because of how out in the open they are. And then Zach's got vital information, bring it down and grind them down.
Yeah, Chuck does have a lot of vehicles, so I think Zach has the right army to take down some of these tanks. I'm not sure if Chuck has enough. Oh, does Chuck have a lot of mortifiers? I'm not sure. Let me look at his list. I don't think I've actually looked at Chuck's list yet.
And you two can look.
Let's see. So we've got 2 immolators, 2 immolators, and 2 rhinos. So we're looking at a total of 8 points that you can get for Bring It Down. I'm not sure if that's a great choice or not.
It was a pretty hard choice for them choosing secondaries. I kind of let them talk over secondaries, and everyone was blessed with not hearing me. But they're 2 pretty hard armies to figure out secondaries against. Oh, Judith is also a vehicle.
Oh,
Good.
that's true. Yeah, so she'll be worth an extra point, so you can get a total of 9 points out of that one. Then
Good for Judith. And
I
here I
forgot that she is a vehicle. That is correct.
again, Danny linked the army list in the chat so you two can see what's coming on. And battle lines, old style hammer and anvil deployment. So we're going long table edges.
Man, the fight over these central objectives is going to be absolutely brutal. So we'll see if we'll see if the board presence that we saw in the last game are rhinos worth 1 point. I thought that they were. I thought it was 10 or more wounds was 2 points. I will check the FAQ on that one. While I'm checking that FAQ, what do you think about the deployment, John?
So the deployment here, I mean, it's pretty much a standard. It's being very cagey. Oh, and someone was kind enough to even link that in here. There's a lot of hiding. Chuck really isn't showing much right off the bat here. And he's definitely trying to protect his lanes of fires. That's not going to matter so much to the manticores that are going to kind of pick targets at will, but it is going to really limit the movement of the Leman Russes and how they can move around and kind of where they need to be in order to get those lanes of fire. The way this board is laid out, especially for a hammer and anvil deployment, I mean, there is that big lane right up at the top here, but Chuck really smartly just keeping everything out of sight from there.
That's pretty solid. Those manticores are going to do work. Man, that low point secondary for this game. Then,
Yeah.
man, I'm not sure. That's very confident that you're going to be able to win primary by that many points to automatically take that kind of a hit for
Which,
secondaries.
when it's just
But okay,
four
I
objective
guess
game.
you do you, boo. That's what I say.
Like I said, when it's just a four objective game and you're maxing it out by holding more, especially when those two ones are the two center ones are not really shaded or shielded in any way, you're really relying on the durability of sisters.
Yeah, the banners is an interesting choice as well, especially against a board control army like Guard, and this army in particular. That might be kind of tough. Um, yeah, and bring it down, then only worth 5 victory points against Chuck.
That's tough there. So if you were in Chuck's shoes going up against that Guard army, what are some of the secondaries you would have chosen?
I'm not sure. I don't. I think the only one that I'm questionable on, I think, is banners. I think Chuck did a good job. Then the ranks I think is probably pretty good. You're going to have to kill all the guardsmen ever, and so there are 2 units of 30 guardsmen plus 4 units of 10, and then incidentally all those special weapon squads. Um, Interesting. Okay, so Zach might have banners. I'm not sure. I'm not sure exactly what the discussion was. Sorry, I missed that part. Just
Uh,
going by what was in the chat.
from what was in chat there, we have it done. I have it down as Chuck having thin their ranks, engage in all fronts, and banners, and Zach having bring it down, grind it down, and vital intel.
Hmm. Um, yeah, just Zach has some. I have to look up what vital intelligence is again. I'm not sure if I
Uh,
remember exactly what
I'm
that
not sure.
was.
Did we mean to write down vital ground, which would be like the mission specific secondary? Because I don't seem to see the vital or remember anyway the vital intelligence as being secondary.
Okay, so vital ground, of course, um, is progressive objective. Um, let's see here.
So
So
yeah, vital ground at the end of
vital
each of your
ground. Here, I'm looking it up right now.
oh, I got it right here. So at the end of each of your command phases, you score 3
Here,
victory
I got it. Yep.
points.
At the end of each of your command phase. Yeah, 3
Oh,
victory points if you control the objective marker in your opponent's deployment zone, and then 2 victory points for each objective marker you control that is in either player's deployment zone. That one is solid. I definitely would have taken that. Um, just if you're pushing up for the center anyway, I feel like that's a good choice.
which you're gonna have to, especially with these armies and this board layout. Those two centers is going to be hotly contested.
Right, right, 100%. You're going to want to be pushing for those anyway, because if you're not pushing for those, you're not going to make primary.
And always the best secondaries are the ones based on things you have to do anyway.
Yeah, those are always the best ones. And if you can kill two birds with one stone, you're just making yourself more efficient.
Absolutely. So it looks like we're all deployed here. It looks like Chuck is going first, and we're moving up through some ruins. If you're Chuck for this round, what are you doing? What's the best way to play it? Or are we still deploying here? Yeah, I think we're still deploying.
All right.
Danny, can you hear me okay? Okay.
I can. Okay, good to know. Thank you. Yeah, I can hear you okay, John. You were breaking up a little bit earlier. But I thought it was my internet just because, as we talked about a little bit earlier in the last stream, Alaska is only officially allowed to have one of us connected to the internet at one time, so we kind of have to share a little bit.
So we're really breaking the rules here by doing this two at a time, not even the same place.
Right? Usually we're just looking over each other's shoulders on mob rules, but not this time.
As Alaska has one TV. Chat Craig correctly pointed out, expect guard to want to fully screen out backfield. That's really true, especially with some Repentia. And then the Flying Sisters coming in there. You want to screen out against that. And we saw in Zach's last game that he did an amazing job of screening. So I think he's very aware of what Chuck can do with that. And his main goal really early on is going to be screen out as much of the board as possible.
Do you know if Chuck has put anything in strategic reserves?
I have not heard that yet, but maybe someone at the table can let us know if anything is in reserve for either player.
Look at your life.
Hey, asking about what I have in reserves. I have my Seraphim. Oh, sorry, my Seraphim is Zephyr Monad. I decided to put it on the table. 1 unit of Retributors, 1 unit of Repentia, and Crusaders are on the are on in reserve.
You didn't take Scramblers, right?
Strong.
I appreciate
maybe.
that. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was like, strong, maybe energy.
I like that. Good question, Protoculture. Man, immolators are a solid choice in a lot of ways. Remember that they're a transport too, so I think he's just using them for protection for the retributor units. I think there's only 5 girls in each of those squad. So trying to keep them protected a little bit, as those are going to be super valuable to nuke those tanks. Immolators being, of course, sorry, not immolators. Retributors, of course, being extremely good at taking down tanks. Each one of those squads firing effectively 6 multi-meltas with Miracle Dice support. So they can really do a lot of work against those. And the Simulacrum means that he can spend an extra Miracle Dice. So if he banks some 6s, oh, buddy, you can get some 16 damage or even 18 damage shots with the Retributor stratagem.
And then to answer JT's question in chat, secondaries, Chuck had took thin their ranks, engage in all fronts, and raise banners. Zach took bring it down, grind it down, and vital ground, the mission specific secondary.
Got to grind those objectives, my friend.
It's rise and grind.
Rise
time.
and grind time.
And then Dakrin, you're quite right. There is now one good commentator for this stream now that Danny's joined us, which made it super helpful. So thank you again.
I assumed he was talking about you. Thanks, Tyler, though. I appreciate that.
Doubtful. Real doubtful.
Real doubtful hours over here. So I like some of the choices in Chuck's list. I really like so this is a weird like for me. I love the two-man Crusader squad. Um, what a great unit for doing actions. And just like holding a backfield objective or something like that for 32 points, getting a couple of guys with storm shields, never bad.
Right, and that's a real cheap unit. You don't care so much if they're not doing anything because they're doing an action, and real easy to hide as well.
Oh yeah, and everybody likes to hide, right? Uh,
Always, especially in
eh,
this one. And so, if you, I mean, you have to start making some choices. As do you want to try and take them out with the Manticore to try and deny some secondary points, or because both of these armies aren't going to score super highly in secondaries right now, do you just kind of try and take out some of the like worst targets?
man, that is a great question. Okay, so looking at the list here, I assume that there's 2 units of Repentia in the Rhinos, and then 1 unit of Repentia that's in strategic reserve. So, um, I think I think that it's probably like you've got to try and take out those Manticores. Again, we saw the Manticores just really dominate that last game. Um, and those tank commanders are vicious too, so you've got to push to get those into combat. Now, uh, having to wait until turn 3 is going to make strategic reserves getting in these Repentia that come in pretty tough. I think obviously they're going to have to come in from the sides of the board, but the deployment zone going up almost 20 inches or so up the table means that it's going to be a little bit tougher to get it because since you're not able to come in on turn 2 from inside of your opponent's deployment zone, it's going to be difficult to get into those tanks. And Zach doesn't have to get any closer, and there's enough guardsmen definitely to block out his flanks to make sure turn 3 when they do come on that they're not able to come on in any kind of threat to the vehicles.
Protoculture going with some real great questions here in chat. How big is going first on this deployment with these lists?
Well, okay. So we saw in the last game that we watched with Zach going first and being able to shoot all the conscripts basically into his opponent's deployment zone was a pretty big deal. So it's going to be, and that Chuck's got to watch out for that. He's got to watch out for him getting screened out by all of these battle sisters or all these conscripts. It looks like we lost one of the Lehman Russes already. Maybe the normal one.
Sister's doing work right there.
Ooh, man,
Uh,
those retributors.
quickly pointed out that I'm quite quiet in comparison to you, but the guys are quite right. You should probably just let it go. For once, the right person has the right volume. But yeah, definitely losing a Lehman Rust right on is going to really hurt, especially with kind of some of the shots that we're going to be throwing out and to help Zach bring it down.
Oh yeah, and that is a large part of his horde clearing. And God, and bring it down not being worth very many points. I think that was definitely a bad secondary choice, a rare mistake from Zach.
And then they were also seeing some questions like, do you think sisters lack screen clearing in their shooting? We've heard about how great they do at removing and just deleting vehicles and high toughness, high armor things off the table. How is Chuxless going to do against screens?
I think he's going to have a. I think he's going to have a little bit of a harder time. I think the plan maybe is to clear them with melee attacks, because maybe a Repentia squad goes into them. But I don't like the trade of trading a Repentia squad for conscripts. That doesn't seem like the best trade in my mind.
And yeah, the Zeraphim definitely going to do a lot of are going to be key for Chuck winning this game here. We see these conscript squads again, very similar to last game with Zach. These conscript squads moving up to try and kind of shore up some objectives. We get some light movement here. I'm sure we're going to see them move to block off that objective and kind of just circle around it.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how exactly he decides to do that. The immolators are all multi meltas. He's got all multi meltas on the retributors. It's absolutely correct that he doesn't have a ton of horde clear. Those Seraphim, when they come down, though, will clear some models for sure. They have 4 hand flamers, and with the descent stratagem that they have, angelic descent, they get to shoot the hand flamers in the movement phase and in the shooting phase. And with the new 12-inch range that flamers have, they can shoot a lot of shots.
But we're definitely both sides have units that really have to do work in order to win this game. Uh,
Absolutely.
and again, we're gonna see Zach's key's gonna be screening off that board to protect all of his units from those drops coming in.
Yep. Yep. 100%. I'm really excited to see, like, once these armies truly engage, what ends up happening. Like turn 2 is going to be a real big turning point.
And so it seems Chuck played real cagey this turn. He's not really showing anything. And what he is showing seems to be quite deliberate and kind of being okay with that being destroyed as being an okay trade off.
I think the Russes are basically nullified this turn from shooting at anything that's a vehicle. Like looking at where they are, I think it's going to be really hard for him to try line of sight to anything at all. Maybe that tank in the upper middle of the screen is the best target that he might have. Otherwise, I don't think he's going to be able to shoot.
So we're going to have to force some movement. And in Chuck's positive side here, the positioning of the manticores means that those Lehman Russ are really stuck where they can go. They can only really go out of that bottom L on the bottom left-hand corner.
Hmm.
So he doesn't have to so much worry about stuff in the top right because they're going to have to do some extreme movement to really get any kind of lanes of fire.
Yeah, yeah, you're right there.
I like to point out the obvious. It's what I do. And then we
Yeah,
see
and we'll see. Go ahead. Sorry.
no, go. No, I was just saying the conscripts at the bottom doing some advancing to put the toe into that bottom objective.
Yeah, as you would yeah, as you can tell. Yeah, and the Lehman Russes do have good line of sight to the objective. So they're probably going to work on clearing those sister squads that are like the sister squad at the very top there. Um so it looks like he might be able to nuke the I think that might be an immolator in the top center.
And yes, the bottom ruin has a window, which that Lehman Russ is poking his little turrets and sponsons out of in order to try and get that tank in the center of the board there, looks like.
And it looks like that might be it. There looks like a squad of retributors in the middle of the table there. One of the six man units that it's going to try and get. The blast weapons will be particularly effective against that unit
And,
because they are 6 models, so they do get a minimum 3 on any blast weapons.
and Zach wants those gone. Those retributors need to not exist very
Oh yeah,
quickly.
they need to be no longer consisting of life.
They need to commune with the Emperor before they can go in.
That's it.
Again, thanks everyone for joining us here. This whole weekend is to support Hammer Out Cancer. If you go to charityhammer.com, you too can donate any amount, but any amount. Every $30 that you donate gets you into a raffle in order to win a range of great prizes, including my favorite, a single box of blood letters. Everyone needs one. But there's also some great stuff like the limited edition Catachan Kernel. There's a fully commission painted Necron army. All of those pictures of all the prizes are on charityhammer.com.
Yeah, man, I could use the box of blood letters for some basing material for my army.
Oh, thanks, man. It's about all they're good for. Now the Death Guard books come out, and I've forgotten all about corn for a second.
Yeah.
Some great movement again from Zach. Just really, we've seen this before in the last game. Turn one or round one, he's going to zoom up to grab as many objectives as he can. And then turn two, we're probably going to see him fall back a lot to block off that back deployment zone.
Super solid. Yeah. And the ability of guard to just move basically wherever they want with impunity is extremely powerful. Yeah, I think we are at around $11,000 is the last that I heard as well. So that's how much money that the charity has raised so far. $11,000. That's awesome.
That's super good. We couldn't do it without all of you guys donating your time, energy, money to really help out here.
How lucky are we to have such a great community?
Heck yeah.
That's so cool.
How lucky are we to get to spend a Sunday morning watching 40K? and for a good cause too.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's awesome.
So Protoculture is asking, does Zach have Deep Strike to rescreen top left, or what is going on? So what's happening, and we saw this last game, is conscripts advancing and moving, and moving can get them pretty much anywhere on the board. And you notice he hasn't gone too far forward with them. And one of those reasons is so he can fall back and screen out there. I thought he overcommitted a little bit last game, but he actually was able to move back and screen a Lictor out. So if you are able to screen your entire deployment zone from a 40 millimeter base, those repens are going to have a hard time dropping down anywhere that's going to cause a real serious threat.
Right. And also keep in mind, since Chuck will have turn 2 first, he only has to screen out outside of his deployment zone, not within his deployment zone, since he can't deploy strategic reserves in there. Now he could deep strike some Zephyrim or some Seraphim in there, um, but we'll see how meaningful that would be. I mean, I would definitely do that, um, because I'd be wanting those miracle dice auto charges. I'm not sure what Chuck has for miracle dice exactly at the moment. Um,
Uh, I'm sure
I
we're going
think
to get
it's a
them.
1 and a 2, so that's not great.
I mean, it's great for morale tests, absolutely. Um,
Yeah.
but we'll hopefully see some more miracle dice being added on here. And those are really going to turn the game because there's nothing like a. Oh, but you're right. But Sisters didn't go first. Man, just pointing out my accuracies. I love it. You gotta love it when I mistake who went first. Uh, but yeah, those Sisters Miracle Dice just guaranteeing like a maximum damage on your multi shot, or having to make that like vital hit is just so important.
Yeah, or even using them like for a an auto 9-inch charge out of deep strike is very powerful. Another thing to keep in mind is this army can really generate a lot of miracle dice. All those Order of the Martyred Lady units, whenever they die, are going to generate an extra miracle dice. So, which is different than normal sisters. In addition, if they ever kill a unit, this army, they're also going to get a miracle dice. So there's a lot of moving pieces here that'll help to guarantee that this army has a lot of miracle dice moving forward.
Oh, Sisters did go. Yeah. But no, Miracle Dice is a great mechanic and something that's really going to help Chuck out. Guarantee those important things. Like he's going to be able to tie up those man scores hopefully pretty quickly. Because getting rid of those guys or tying up the mana cores, at least in combat, is going to be key to him not losing a lot of secondary points to it.
Yeah, very important. Well, yeah,
Toby,
and even if the sisters tag stuff, it's probably I would say it's kind of unlikely that they're going to get more than one Manticore. It depends on how the consolidate moves go. You can travel pretty far and maybe tag them both. Um, I don't know. We'll see. That might have been a big mistake on Zach's part. We'll see if Chuck can capitalize on it. But keep in mind also, right now, Chuck doesn't have the dice to auto pass that charge. So that's a real risky 9 inches, um, even for Zephyrim.
now how can Chuck get extra Miracle Dice this turn? How is he going to maximize and get those opportunities in there? What does he need
So
to
he's
do?
he's got a couple of different ways. Um, Obviously, Order of Armored Lady units dying. Um, it looks like right now, sorry, he has a 1 and a 2 for Miracle Dice. Oh, he just got another one. Looks like he got a 4. Um, and uh, every time an Order of Armored Lady unit dies, he's going to get an extra Miracle Dice. Anytime Chuck kills a unit, he's going to get a Miracle Dice. Anytime that he denies a psychic power with one of his sister's units, which is only on 1d6, so probably not super likely, um, he can potentially get one. Um, and then he also, if he passes morale test on a natural 1, he'll also get a miracle dice for that. So there's a couple of different ways that he can gain them, and he's always going to gain one at the start of his turn, um, which is definitely a nice feature of this army.
And as JP rightly points out, Lehman Russ is deadly in combat. Sisters should probably stay away from that. Our last game that we streamed, a Broodlord charged Lehman Russ. That Lehman Russ hit 3 times and did 2 wounds and Kill the Broodlord. So yeah, that tank beside that bottom ruin is deadly in close combat.
I've seen it. I've seen it do its work. It's no stranger to close combat.
It's tasted
Let's say it that way.
tasted blood already.
It's crushed the skulls of a million aliens. Sorry, the feet of a million aliens. And you know what they say? The only good bug is a bug whose foot you run over, from the famous Tom Cruise movie, uh, Muppets in New York.
The Toe Crusher. Yeah, that's a mighty name for a tank.
Yeah, what a great name.
This is my heavy stubber. Is it a gun? No, it's how toes are injured.
Oh, that's amazing.
Oh man. So what are we rolling here? What's shooting what here? Oh, another miracle dice. So something else died. Can you see what that next miracle dice is there, Danny?
Let's see. My stream might be a little bit behind here. Looks like a 3.
3. Man, we're continuing the averages here, but on the plus side, that's at least a hit. So if you have to hit, you now have the miracle dice to guarantee that shot.
That's right. Which is nice. Just if you need to make sure something happens, or that could be a 7 damage attack from multi-meltas.
So you shouldn't
don't
count
count
out
it out.
the low miracle dice. There's always uses for them.
Absolutely.
And anytime you can negate dice, man, that's a good day.
Nobody likes to have to roll things.
W-
Don't you make me roll my own dice.
None of us play this game to roll dice.
I just do it to win, right? I mean, that's the whole point of this, isn't it? Right?
Heck yeah, it was.
I think
Yeah,
so.
yeah. Don't play, just win.
Just win.
This free coaching service brought to you by Danny.
Donated to charity.
Donate, yeah. And you guys didn't even have to go to charityhammer.com and donate any amount up to whatever you do, and every $30 gets you in that raffle. Danny gave you
didn't
that for
have
free.
to, but you definitely should.
Yeah. Yeah, Danny's excellent coaching service of just roll sixes. And then, paypal.me/charityhammer. Of course, is he referring to, he says he still has the card in the wall. He referred to last year, Danny got to attend Charity Hammer in person, and we sent him down with coaching service cards, which just had a great picture of Danny with the advice, just roll sixes, or don't lose, or don't suck.
Yep. Stop being bad. Be good instead. Roll lots of sixes.
Yeah.
Also, microwave your dice.
And this isn't a metaphor. It's just literally do that. Looks like we have, who's coming up here in that top ruin there? We have some sisters jumping out.
I think that those are retributors. Yeah, those are some more retributors coming up there.
That's some great lane of fire right over there. Can see right pretty much the entire table. And definitely do not drink Wraith. That stuff is cancer. And then, yeah, the retributors are over there. They have really good lane of fire there now over the table.
I wonder what they can take shots at right now.
Oh yeah, because like looking at that side camera, those two crate L's are about the same height of it, so I don't think they have line on the Russ in the left middle, and there's the Russ on the right bottom. I don't think they have line at that either.
Maybe the Manticore. I don't know. That's a long. So normally multi-meltas are only 24 inches. Oh, we lost another. He lost another. Looks like a rhino, or maybe that was an. I think. Oh, that was an immolator that just died.
But hey, plus side on that, he gains another miracle dice.
It might only be once per round from that. once per phase. I'll have to double check that.
That sounds way more balanced than getting a bunch of free dice for all your stuff dying. I have 1 unit left, but infinite 6s to do armor saves with.
Perfection. All right. Let's see here. So it is, yeah, gain 1 miracle dice at the end of any phase other than the morale phase in which any units with this conviction are destroyed. And then you gain that in addition to if a character unit with Axe of Faith is destroyed. And then also if they lose a model in any unit, they get +1 to hit.
It's going to be amazing, especially when he. I also like the idea of the drinking game of just gain a miracle dice. Do this.
I feel like most Sisters players would just be drunk all the time if that were the case. So we'll see here. Man, that was a lot of casualties that we ended up taking. That Chuck lost 2 tanks, a whole squad of retributors. He actually may have lost another squad of retributors there too, next to Junith. I'm not sure if that rhino had anybody in it. Oh no, I think the models jumped behind those crates. But we'll see. Up in the upper center of the table. And then I think the rhino in the middle is also full of Repentia. So those conscripts might be having a bad time next turn. John, what do you think? Did I go silent? Maybe I did. I don't know. Okay, cool. Good. Well, maybe John's quiet then. Okay. All right, cool. I'll send him a message and let him know. He is quiet as a mute. All right. Yeah, and Zach just crowding on that objective. Looks like he's doing everything he can to make sure that he controls 2 objectives at the start of next turn. Or 3, rather, in this case. Important distinction. This mission, you really have to fight over those objectives. So you've really got to push for the center. And this table has some cover, but not a ton. Really good diagonal lanes of fire is what it has. Let's see here. And Chuck rolling some dice. Oh, no, maybe that's Zach. Well, some conscripts were removed anyway. Get him out of here. Oh, it looks like the Battle Sisters are swinging into him. That's the trick right there. All right. So looks like we're doing maybe some tallying up of points here in a second. Hey, John, are you there? Nope.
Hello.
No, any sound from the guys in the room, Welshman. I heard you for a second. And I heard that. As John threw his mic across the room in a fit of absolute rage. I don't know if any of you guys know John personally, but he is just the angriest person you've ever seen in your life. Yeah, it's that Alaskan internet. It's very slow. We may have had a moose get tangled up in some of the wires that definitely run above ground and not in the ocean. I like this pre-measurement saying, "Ooh, how close am I to this manticore?"
All right. Can you hear me now, Danny?
And
All right, cool. I am now on my fourth device of the day as things slowly disconnect me. I'm now on my cell phone. Quality
you're being
times.
you're being taken off the air, John. You're too hot for TV. That's what it is.
I am being silenced. That is a-okay though, because that probably should happen. And then end of round one looks like the secondary score is kind of going the way we saw on the table there. Chuck at 3, Zach at 6. How do you see this round going here, Danny?
Um, it'll be interesting to see Chuck doing a lot of pre-measurement to see what exactly his options are. It looks like he might be down to one Retributor squad, and it looks like he might be down to one Retributor squad or maybe two, one inside the immolator and then one inside the building in the upper right-hand side. So we'll see how that plays out for him. He has nothing really to contest that flank down there on the lower left-hand side, unless that rhino in the middle contains some repentia. If those babies jump out, it's going to be tough time for Zach to kind of make up that deficit.
No, I see on the right-hand side that, or left-hand side, that manticore is kind of poking its head out a little bit there, so it's
Yep.
being able to be seen. Do you think that was sort of a mismovement, or was that kind of done on purpose there?
Oh, that was absolutely on purpose. So manticores have a stratagem. If you can see their target, they can spend a command point and get +1 to hit. Um, so I think that was definitely intentional for it to be able to see one of those tanks that was that got blown up. I assume by the manticore. Oh, here comes some rhinos. Oh, okay. So there were repentia inside of that rhino in the back, like kind of right hand side there, upper right hand side.
It's like, not anymore.
Nope, they're coming out. They're coming out to play with those guardsmen. They can advance now. Sisters of Battle have a stratagem where they can spend a command point and advance and charge. So extremely powerful with a close combat unit that is as deadly as Repentia are, especially and specifically Bloody Rose Repentia are nasty in close combat. So they really do a lot of work and put out a ton of attacks. Each one of those models looking at 3 attacks minimum, 4 attacks if they're around a preacher each, hitting on 4s, rerolling misses, AP -4, strength 6, 2 flat damage. So pretty gross in close combat.
And a huge threat zone for those guys as well. And as we
Oh
see,
my
they're
god.
about to smash into some the conscripts right there. I keep on calling them cultists. They're not cultists. They're conscripts. But definitely about to shoot down on into there. And 1 CP, really not bad for up to 12 inches more free movement.
Yeah, and it does look like Chuck got a couple of 6s for Miracle Dice. So that's pretty scary to see. Nobody wants to see sisters with a bunch of 6s.
And
Yeah,
then
and it looks.
cultists.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, go. I was just doing chat things. Those aren't as important as what you were going to say.
Doubtful. Yeah, cultists are worse than conscripts in a lot of ways. Especially now, looking at they might be not objective secured in the Chaos Space Marine book in the next version because they are not in Death Guard. Very interesting.
And also how many you take too, which I can see carrying over too.
Yep. Yeah, you're down to 30 model cultist units.
Yeah, I was like, GW refused to make Chaos Marines better. They would just keep making cultists worse. Yes, they do. Um, and then those, more sisters coming in. We look like we're really going to try and clear off those midfield objectives. Like you were saying earlier, Danny, this midfield is going to be so
Fantastic.
contested. Even more so than kind of usual games of Ninth, where it's all kind of mid-table stuff here. We're going to see a lot of trading units for units going on.
Yep, I agree.
Because those Repent are going to go charge into this cultist there. If we look behind him, is that the special weapon squad from the guard squad hiding behind that L right in front of that Lehman Russ?
It could be. Yeah, maybe. Either that or a 10-man infantry squad. It's
Which,
one of those two things for sure.
which even then with first rank, second rank is going to be able to whittle down everything. So almost baiting Chuck into charging and kind of giving up that conscript squad in order to really wipe out those really dangerous close combat sister units.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really hard for Chuck to clear out all the conscripts. So I think that Zach is probably still going to control that, especially if Zach spends 2 command points to just auto pass them for morale. Because even 9 of full buffs, which they won't have, there won't be within 6 inches of the preacher, get 36 attacks that hit on 4s, rerolling misses. The statistic likelihood of them hitting with all of their attacks or even enough attacks to make sure that they can kill 30 guys is very minimal. So some of those guys are going to have to die before the Repentia are going to be able to really do some solid work on them. And it looks like Junith walking out along with a 5-man Battle Sister squad to try and contest the objective with all those cultists on it. Looking forward to seeing how that works out. It looks like there's some Repentia up there as well, ready to chop up more conscripts.
Time to thin some ranks, I think, as Chuck said at the start of the battle. He has to kill all the cultists anyway. Why not make it a secondary?
That's right. Get rid of those cultists.
Because now we're going to refuse to call them conscripts. Because it's just an imperial cult.
Well, yeah, if they were loyal to the Imperium, they definitely wouldn't be fighting against Sisters of Battle.
That's right. This is just when we change Zach's army without him knowing. We start calling things Vindicators and Whirlwinds.
There you go.
So what is Chuck aiming to do this turn? Like he's pulling forward, he's trying to clear off those objectives. Is that really kind of all he can hope for this turn? Is to clear off the objectives as much as possible here?
Tries to clear off objectives. I think he projects threat. It looks like he started to roll dice for the shooting phase. I think he's going to try and pick up one of the Manticores. That would be ideal. But we'll see. We'll see what he can actually do. The unit of 6 Retributors gets to fire a lot of multi-melter shots. I think 16 multi. No, 4 times 2, so 10 multi. Oh, it's more than that. 12 multi Melta shots, which is a lot of Melta.
Welshman says, can I donate an amount to change a unit? You can donate as much as you want to cherryhammer.com. And you could change the units you own by possibly winning one of the many fabulous prizes, which would be.
Why donate to change a unit when you can donate and change the world?
Dude, that was so smooth. I'm so proud of you right now.
Thanks, buddy. Yeah, I can. I really can.
I think we could all hear you groaning. I think it's a collective million-person groan. I also feel your eye roll. Right, so what are we shooting? I think we're shooting at the Lehman Russ on the bottom.
What is shooting at that?
I don't know. There was some measuring going on from the Lehman Russ to that kind of blob over there by the rhino. Gross.
Yeah,
Chad is-
JT, you do some weird stuff, man. You're gonna be smooth like a seal.
Oh, yep, and that Lehman Russ is gone. So now we're down to 1 Lehman Russ.
Oof. Brutal.
So Chuck took some really heavy early losses, but he's sort of weathered it and is coming back. And we're seeing how good sisters are right now against armor, and the fact that whatever they look at pretty much is gone. And still Chuck with a lot of really good miracle dice up there.
Yeah, and that's huge. I think that's going to be a really big deal. Once he gets that 12-inch charge into play, he can start bringing in models from reserve and auto charging, because he's definitely got a 3 locked in there. So he just needs to use one of the 6s to make a 9-inch charge or a 10-inch charge if he wants to, with some Zephyrim or even the Seraphim, just to tie stuff up.
Now, if you're Zach, do you change how you play, kind of like looking at Chuck's miracle dice? How does that affect your game?
Absolutely. I'm like, okay, now I know what I need to watch out for, because I know that if he decides to make this move, it's not just a risk, it's a certainty. Like, it'll just happen. So you got to be really careful of that.
And it looks
All
like
right.
we're shooting at the Manticore here, trying to take that guy out.
Oh.
I
think it just took a big 6 damage. At least maybe 7 if the dice was if they were using the stratagem on them.
And then I think Chuck had 2 6s of miracle dice, so he could use one of those to max out Melta damage while still being able to guarantee his charge coming in from Deep Strike.
Right, exactly. And that's what it looks like has happened in this case. All right, we're rolling a lot of dice. Somebody's afraid here.
Things are happening. Dice are rolling. What's interesting to see here is Zach's almost starting to get boxed in. Not really able to advance out more. And what is out, where you have the Imperial cultists, is like they are not going to last long out in the open like they are.
Right. And the bolters can do like some significant work against them. Especially against some of these smaller units that are extremely valuable, like the command squads with 4 plasma guns, or the special weapon squads, because those are only 4 and 6 models respectively. Yeah, the Welshman says, I've seen once sisters gain momentum, it's hard to stop them. Totally agree. Like, they can really lay out the punishment.
And even here, where you have that special sisters, you know, they're gaining miracle dice for dying and for killing. that's just giving them a huge pool that they can draw from.
Yeah, absolutely. It gives them a lot of options, a lot of flexibility, and like we talked about a little bit earlier, like it's just assurance. Like this is going to happen whether you like it or not. There's nothing that you can really do to stop it. Or you're going to have to play around it, which is what I think is going to happen. So to me, I think by the end of this turn, Chuck picks up almost all the conscripts.
For sure. And then once those conscripts are gone, Zach's ability to score primary is pretty much gone too.
Yeah, he's got to fall back on the 10-man infantry squads that he has. Sorry, excuse me.
How
So
dare you?
I know. I only woke up at 4 o'clock this morning to start streaming.
And I didn't even let you have a break.
Surprisingly so. I think Zach's plasma units are there. I think they're in kind of the middle of the table there. Although that might be an infantry squad. It's hard to tell the difference between which squad is which a little bit. So I don't think they're deep striking or anything like that. I don't think they have the ability to do that. And the Repentia are in. Chuck did not have to spend a miracle dice on their charge. It looks like.
And it looks like he's really pushing them off of that objective and charging in a way where they're not going to be able to consolidate onto it more.
Right, because there's only like maybe one or two of them that are actually on the objective.
And that's going to force Zach to make a choice. Does he want to hold the objective, or does he want to kill himself off of it to make those repentious shootable?
And that's you got to force decisions like that. Those are all extremely important. Is Paul our table boss right now? Is that who's running it? Awesome. Hey, how many wounds does that mana core have on it? Oh, 2 left. Okay, cool. Yeah, so that thing is now hitting on sixes. So it's not in a good place.
Oh, it's holding on now.
Yeah, Welshman. So like yes, but you have to pay attention to what your opponent has the capacity to do. So like you have to assume that they're gonna make the best play that you know that they can. Um so Welshman says, sorry, would you not ignore miracle dice? There's nothing you can do to stop them. You can, but you can mitigate the amount of damage that they can do with said miracle dice. So I think that that's kind of what we're talking about. You just have to pay attention to, and that's one of the keys to really kind of high level 40k play is knowing what your opponent can do, and then moving in such a way to stop them from being able to do what they want, which is quite a big deal. Yeah, and JT mentions as well, kind of, you have to know when it's an option and hope to bait them out. Exactly what I said. Sorry, I'm reading these down the list here and not paying attention to that. I've just repeated it almost exactly what he said. And that's also true. You also generate those miracle dice at the end of the phase, not as soon as they happen. So you can't use them within that same phase, and it's important to make that distinction. That's a pretty common mistake that I see from Sisters players, and I think that Chuck has been doing that. I think it's just to make sure he remembers that he has them on the table, not that he's trying to use them right away.
And I think if you look at that top right, those white dice are Chuck's miracle dice. There is one separately out by itself that might be the one generated during that phase.
Well, that one's the 6.
Oh, so that's just a
I
super
think that's the
special
good
fancy
miracle dice.
dice. That's
I
the
think
good
that's the
pile.
good miracle dice, and the other ones are like those are the trash ones, trash tier dice. Sisters do have a way to spend those ones too to make them useful. You can You can use them to bring characters back from the dead that die, and with wounds remaining, or you can use them to you can use a CP and spend extra miracle dice and increase one of the dice by however much you discard miracle dice for. So I believe you can discard like the 1 and the 2 to make the 3 into a 5 if you also spend a command point.
Burn through trash. We're seeing some very concerned looks of what to punch with, what to remove, to maximize the holding of that top objective there.
I like that Zach and Chuck basically have the same haircut. Just Zach's is a little bit longer in the back, so I think that
Zach
means that
has
Zach is
a,
better at partying.
I think Zach has a mohawk. Chuck has a forced mohawk through age.
Oh, no, I think Chuck shaves the side of his head, but yeah, okay, yes.
Much
The
like me.
compulsory mohawk.
Yeah. I know, I rock the compulsory mohawk.
I just have a receding hairline.
Yeah, we're calling that a compulsory mohawk now. That's what the real thing
Cool.
is.
That's way cooler than what I actually have.
Yeah.
Which is male pattern baldness, folks, in case you were wondering. Yeah, exactly. It makes us more aerodynamic for when we fight. Just that's the same reason I shave my armpits.
Yeah, that and the smell. But
Yeah, that too.
the best thing to remember, again, here for charity, here to raise money for cancer research and to help a local player out. If you go to charityhammer.com to donate, you can go paypal.me/charityhammer and donate as much or as little as you can. If you can't, the fact you're even here just listening to us and supporting the cause is good enough. But if you do, lots of prizes, lots of things to win, lots of way to increase your 40K collection.
Absolutely.
Man, JT with some real hot takes in chat that we'll leave alone.
Yeah, we have a rule against that one specific thing too, even.
We sure
like,
do.
for real. Yeah. All right. So, man, there's not a lot of conscripts left on either of these objectives.
No, yeah, the sister Chuck's done a great job of just removing conscripts. And like I said, the fact now is that Zach's going to find it really hard to max out primary, just based on the fact that he doesn't have anything that can hold. And on a 4 objective mission, hold more is so hard.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, no, remember I said turn 2 was going to be a real pivotal turn, and Chuck has really been able to capitalize on the amount of damage that he's done. He's dealt some crippling blows to this army. He killed the Lehman Russ. He took Manticore down to operating on bottom profile. He's basically removed the conscript squads. Now, oh yeah, and the conscripts are gone in the lower on the lower side. Now, conscripts or Sister Repentia can fight twice, so it looks like that's what Chuck has decided to do, and just remove them entirely and
which was the
block them
right
off
call.
the objective. Yes, that was real smart because you know that Zach is just going to auto pass one of those units and make sure they stick around. And now he's made it so now Chuck has made it so Zach is not going to be capable of getting on that objective without some janky maneuvers.
But as we saw from the last game, Zach is real good at jank. So what are some things Zach can do to get onto that objective?
So what he could do is he could try and kill like maybe 5 like maybe even down to 1 Repentia, and then charge that Repentia to get some extra movement to get an OBSEC model on that objective to steal it from the Rhino. Which would be a real wrinkled brain play. That would be very solid.
Bottom left-hand corner, that Lehman Russ does have line of sight on that Repentia too through that window.
It does. It's like literally sitting right there. and or that Lehman Russ could just nuke the Rhino anyway. With like multi-meltas. Like I wouldn't waste the multi-meltas against the sisters. I would use it against the Rhino, I think, if it were me. and just use that demolisher cannon and really try and whittle him down.
For
And
sure.
also some las guns from those guard.
You know, it looks like those guard and I think there's some guard in the ruin down there. They're gonna make a break for it and try and hold on to that objective. And like I said at the start of the battle here, the two objectives sort of protected by owls. But there's a little bit of that objective poking out at the
Oh,
bottom of where if he can hide there,
I
that's going to
see
be
that.
really key.
I missed that before. Yeah, so if he moves those guardsmen, there's a really good chance that he's going to be able to he can do two things with that. Number one, he can block off those repentia a bit, and he can score. He can deny Chuck that objective for sure. And then that's another squad that Chuck has to deal with before he can score. Now the top objective is almost going to be impossible for Zach to remove the guys from. He can use the stratagem to fall back through enemy models, but there's no way that he doesn't keep Chuck from winning that objective because Chuck does have Battle Sisters on there, I believe, and those are going to be OBSEC.
So right now it looks like Chuck is getting three different objectives being held. I don't see him being moved off of three if he's able to keep that up. Because if you look, the Rhino in that bottom corner is also holding that objective.
Yep.
And so a lot of things have to go right for Zach to deny hold more.
Absolutely right, John. Yes, we'll have to see. We'll have to see if Zach can kind of hold out. It's kind of funny to see the shoe on the other foot here, right? Like last time it was Tyler who was trying to hold out against Zach, and now Zach is trying to hold out against Chuck.
For sure. And what we're seeing here is just the consistency of Sisters, where Miracle Dice mitigates so much chance, and then the quality shooting coming in from those melted guns that just crippled the real offensive part of his army with those manticores.
Right. Oh, and Tyler brings up a great point. This guard list reminds me of orcs. Yes, and Chuck, and he says it's a good thing Chuck doesn't have practice with that archetype, which is the opposite of true because that is the army that Chuck normally plays is orcs. Yeah, he's got a pretty good handle on what he has to do to win. And Chuck has got another miracle dice. It looks like he's received a 5. So another high miracle dice roll, very powerful.
And I think the great thing about Sisters with those Miracle Dice, and that one in the good Miracle Dice pile, as we can see, the
Yep.
great thing about those Miracle Dice is when you use that assault phase as a free movement phase, when you can guarantee yourself an 11, 12-inch charge, that makes your threat range and your ability to just hold objectives and go over the place so much better.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, so we'll have to see what Zach does to try and get himself out of this situation. It's a sticky situation for sure.
Well, hopefully Zach has some baby wipes. That's what we're going to call clutch plays.
Yep. Zach Baby Wipe Nelson. I'm pretty sure that's his new name. Thanks, John.
You're welcome. See, that's because we made him raffle off his dice from the last game. And now, I don't know, Paul, if you can tell us, did his Repentia already, or are they still in reserve?
So there's one in the upper side. I'm not sure. There might be one in reserve. We still have to see Zach's turn 2 because he does get some reprisal here.
So if you're Zach for your turn 2, what are your goals here? Because you've had some massive blows.
Let's see. He's got to get rid of the Repentia on the bottom right hand, on the bottom left hand side. Those guys have got to die. Otherwise, they can run amok. That squad by itself can easily kill that Lehman Russ, which would be the big sad. And then I think you kind of have to give up the upper center objective. It's not like Zach has got anything in reserve. Everything he's got is on the table. The other thing he's got to try and get rid of is some of these retributors. He's got to try and kill them. If he doesn't, they're just going to do so much work against his army. If he can get some OPSEC units onto that objective, which might be kind of hard, we'll see. But that would be another thing that he could do to maybe deny Chuck some points and keep it at a 5-point primary. I'm interested to see what the scores end up at the end of this round. I think it's going to be, be kind of telling, but we'll see.
I think right now Chuck controlling 3 objectives. In order to pull that back, we would need to see Zach delete that Rhino and the Repentia on the bottom objective, the mass pile of units and bodies on that top objective, and then the 2 different, I believe, sister units on that back objective there.
Yeah, agreed.
So I think regardless of what Zach does, I think he can only deny Chuck 5 points. I think Chuck's leaving this turn with at least 10 points from primary.
Which is which is a good lead. Yeah, I think definitely Zach is on the back foot here. It's going to take some extra effort to get him to pull this out. He's going to have Tyler levels of jank to get out of this situation.
Tyler, my new hero, loser of the last game against Zach, but never quit and just did such amazing things. The whole game to pull 20 points out of a game he should have lost by way more.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought my stream died for a second. It looks like they're having some conversations at the table, talking some stuff out, making sure that each one of them understands what the other person's intent is. Zach kind of doing some calculation here. And Chuck examining the table, checking it for imperfections, making sure that it's up to the
Paul,
standards of his win.
Yeah, Paul, you're at the table there. Does Chuck have some kind of level to make sure that is a regulation table? As I make him unmute himself for a bad joke.
The best kind.
All right, so we see jumping out here, and this is a super well done move. He's blocking those Repentia. So although they can like charge, there's only so far they can go. So it's just a little roadblock for, I mean, they're not going to survive the assault, but it's really going to protect that Lehman Russ, which is what he's trying to do with those guys there.
Yeah, that's a pretty solid move. He's definitely got the right setup for coherency's sake, so he can lose a couple and still be in coherency, which is great. And still block.
And then I will say, if I was Zach here, looking at maybe using that Manticore and moving it to try and maybe block off some of that back corner, just if there was still more sisters in reserve, because it's not really going to do much through shooting, but maybe it can block off an area, or at least try and run into something.
Right. Yeah, I think that's a great play. One thing to keep in mind though is movement is nuked. So it probably moves like 4 inches or something like that.
But at this point, I would be worried about it blowing up and taking out some wounds against the other Manticore.
Yeah, same. That is also my my worry for that model. And you can make it so that a unit that charges the 2 wound Manticore can't just consolidate into the other one.
For sure.
But I don't know. Zach might have a plan that I don't know about. His plan might be a lot better than my plan. That's very possible. I'm not really a guard player myself.
Again, easy for us to look in from the outside and say what to do.
Yeah.
Protoculture, any update on score? Paul, I believe, is going to be updating the score here at the end of this round here. Zach went second, so he's just finishing up his turn and kind of maximizing as much as he can do here. But it looks like here Chuck is going to be ahead after round two.
Yeah, sisters can gain really rapid board control. They're a lot faster than you would think they are, especially with advance and charge on their close combat units, and especially if they're mechanized in transports, they can really get where they need to go. Um, sisters are a really versatile army. They have a lot of tools, and they hit really hard. They're very points efficient.
Looks like on the top corner or top side of the screen there, Zach's done the same thing, and he's sacrificed a guard squad as like a little roadblock too for any of those units there to kind of put some protection on his tanks and really hold his home objective. Yeah, Repentia are guided missiles of doom. They're quite amazing. But again, to Zach's credit, like the screening he's doing here is kind of showing great mid-table screening, where regardless of what Chuck does, he's being very protective of the one objective he is for sure holding. And by doing that, he's at least guaranteeing himself 5 primary points.
John, I am so back.
Whoa. No, I was talking about the screening, the mid-table screening, and really protecting his home objective through speed bumps, which is like such a great thing to do with like little cheap units like guardsmen.
Right. And yeah, it's one of the strengths of having those kinds of units. Yeah, and Repentia are absolutely guided missiles of doom. They hit like a freight train.
We also been asked how much of a deal was it that the plasma command squads would have been mostly wasted in this matchup? Would you think they would be wasted? I think it would still be pretty effective.
I think they'd be okay. Um, yeah, they're not as good as they are against Marines, but you don't have to overcharge them really against sisters because they only have one wound anyway. So you don't have to worry about the overcharge and losing models to overcharge and stuff. They still have good AP. Oh yeah, for sure. And to me, for this kind of army, I like that a little bit better. I actually like veterans in like transports, or special weapon squads and transports, just because you can get them protected and then kind of unleash them at the right time to get
Uh,
that like extra little bump. I
um,
agree with that for the most part.
what Danny's referring to is for the points he's spending on plasma is you could have more bodies, which is what a list like this seems to want to do.
Yeah, like a vendetta. I was thinking more like just a chimera. Chimeras are actually pretty efficient for their points. They're pretty cheap for a vehicle with like 11 wounds and a 3-up armor save. I think they're 11 wounds. They might only be 10, but they're still toughness 7, and they have good guns. You can give them heavy flamers, which is always awesome.
And I think is Zach dropping some things down here.
I'm not sure what he's doing there.
Here we have that unit that appeared in the top, and then a unit at the bottom too.
Um, maybe he's got strategic. He had some strategic reserves.
Yeah, looks like some conscripts,
Well,
which
I think the conscripts all died.
and Paul, I don't know if you could help us out here with what unit that is in the top and bottom of the table that's just came in. Okay.
Okay, cool. Oh, so 12 guys. That makes sense. Cool. Perfect. Yep. Oh, wow. So yeah,
Okay,
like
so
actually more than 20 models just showing up there is pretty epic.
yeah, so that's huge. And again, I think that just goes, Danny and I wonder where those were there. So that is why there's that big gap there. And that amount of weaponry, that area, that's going to do a lot of damage against the sisters, and
Yeah,
it's gonna make Chuck have to make some decisions about. I mean, he has some great miracle dice, but does he want to save those for charges, or does he want to make sure he has that objective?
absolutely. Um yeah, and I think he's got man, yeah, that's going to be tough
So it's
to it's going to be easy for him to push stuff off of that objective.
forcing some real choices from Chuck here.
Right, exactly. And these guys have the disciplined shooters. While an infantry squad with this doctrine shoots a rapid fire weapon against a unit that's within 18 inches, double the number of attacks it makes, rather than the normal rules for rapid fire weapons. So these guys get to rapid fire at 18 inches. So it looks like probably most of those guys will be in rapid fire range. That's going to be very effective against these models. The only recourse that Chuck has here, kind of, is since he's not in combat anymore, is that Junith does give all those squads a 5+ invulnerable save. Because she has a 6-inch bubble of +1 invul save that's not order specific. So it'll be any of the units, even the Bloody Rose or the Order of the Martyred Lady units, which is very, very good.
But this is some great play from Zach to like just not only try and take stuff off of objectives, but try and whittle Chuck's miracle dice down.
Yeah,
Where he might want to save some for those charges, but does he want to hold that objective instead?
that's a tough call. That's a very tough call.
Because at this point, if he holds all the objectives he has still, he's getting 15 points. But if he loses that top one, and there's a possibility he loses the bottom one too, then that takes him down to 5 real quickly.
Yeah, and that's not a lot.
Dang, I love your best dodgeball lines, where you're like you're the other commentator with the it's like 5 isn't a large number, John.
Hey, I'm doing my best at this color commentary role.
You know, it's all good, man. Um,
Yeah, Protoculture. He's asking if there's an endless tide kind of stratagem for conscripts. There is, but it's locked to Valhallans only. I think it's send in the next wave is what it's called. And I think it actually also costs uh uh what are they? Not reserve points, but reinforcement points.
so not great.
So yeah, you don't that's why you don't see it very often. But again, it's really cool to see a guard army actually. A whole guard army. You don't see that a ton.
Yeah, no, I'm pure guard too without needing to soup anything else in.
Yeah. Ooh, picking up those Repentia. That's tough.
Because now Chuck has lost that bottom objective. Being held right now by guardsmen who are objective secured, and that Rhino not objective secured.
Yeah. If the rest of those Repentia go, and there they go, they there's no way for them to I don't think that Chuck has a great recourse to get back on that objective. Maybe the Seraphim or the Zephyrim can help clear that. I imagine that tank is probably a gun or two if the Leman Russ decides to look at it funny.
So really, this is going to come down to this turn. Can Zach clear off that top objective with those plasma?
It would be
And if you,
super epic if he did.
and then if we look there, he really just needs to aim for the objective secure bodies because he has a squad of guardsmen there, right just south, I believe, of that objective, who can charge in and use that charge movement to claim that objective. He just needs to
Yep.
make sure there's nothing else objective secured there. And that takes it from Chuck getting 15 points this turn to Zach getting 15 points for primary.
Well, no, he's got to stay on it, right? So
Oh,
that may be a little bit more difficult.
that's fair.
It's a lot easier to say than to actually do.
Well, that's why I talk
But
and don't play.
but that other guard squad, I think, is they're gonna have a hard time removing those. I'm interested to see what the play is there exactly. Yeah, man, good game. This is some good back and forth going on here.
Again, it's like what we're talking about at the start. We're trading units for units here at this point, which is great. Things that the repention did great. We're getting rid of that large blob, but then they got picked up really quickly. And as you said, I don't think outside of the Seraphim that Chuck has much of a recourse to get those guardsmen off of that objective.
Right.
Which at this point, do you focus on clearing them off of the objective? Is that where you would go with those guys or gals?
So for me, if I could, I think I would try and clear off the ones in Chuck's deployment zone. Or in Zach's deployment zone, sorry. Try and clear off those guardsmen. The Manticores, though, I'm really interested to see where they're going to go.
I know both you and I both said we'd be a little bit more aggressive with the super wounded one there. Um, but it seems they're just kind of sticking in place there.
Yeah, I would have definitely gone for the wounded duck stratagem, where you just kind of move it away from the rest of your army as a decoy.
Because yeah, like it's I mean, and Zach's not losing any secondaries by losing that tank because thin the ranks, engage on all fronts, and raise banners. Being Chuck secondaries, blowing up a tank doesn't really give him any extra points.
No, it just protects his units, which is what I think he wants. Yeah, but you're right. You're right. Okay, it does give him a secondary because every single tank that he kills is going to give him 1 point for thin their ranks because they
Hmm.
are a model with 10 or more wounds, so they count as 10 models.
Oh, then yeah, hide that thing.
Yeah. Nope. Okay, there goes the rhino. It exploded too. It did damage to the preacher, missionary, I think is what he is, as well as damage to he killed a couple of guardsmen.
I think this squad here is being shot at there, right?
Which squad?
The top right hand sister squad.
The one behind Junith.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are looks like retributors, I think. I guess Zach is trying to kill those ones because he wants to
And he did kill those ones.
remove the threat. Okay, yeah, solid.
I think that was just some quality Manticore shooting. Really taking out the anti-tank.
Brutal.
Much like the in Groundhog Day, the Lehman Russ can now safely pop its head out and say hello to the rest.
Yeah, there's only one more unit of retributors back on Chuck's home objective.
Which will not really have line of sight to anything.
Right. And Chuck has no more command points left, so Chuck rolled another 5 for Miracle Dice. Dang, he's got a good stack there.
Who needs command points when you just have miracle dice that are 5s and 6s?
Right, exactly.
Command
Oh,
points
man.
standing for loser points.
Yeah,
JTF.
CP stands for loser points somehow. Just does.
Yeah, it's time to roll out Toe Crusher.
Oh, man. Don't tempt him. I can't take it. It happened last time, and it was so harsh.
Ready for that Lehman Russ to do work in close combat. It's got a ways to go, but I believe in it.
It doesn't matter. He'll just roll it out there. Anything that touches it is just gonna die.
It's a relic tank. Deathfield.
Oh, man. Every time I think of Toe Crusher, I just think of the Crushinator from Futurama. She's a sturdy gal.
Employee coffee table. Oh man.
You know
But
why
I
it
have
does that? To stub people's toes.
Heavy Stubber has like a whole new meaning for me after this game.
Yeah, that was so good, dude.
Because Lehman Russ is a heavy stubber. But yeah, Zach is clawing some stuff back here for sure. Like I think at the start of round two, like he had a lot of losses. And now he's clawed back to almost being able to wipe Chuck off of primary.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Which, like, I think, and the ironic thing is he did it right as we were saying that maybe he should have taken something apart from plasma special weapon squads, and then those guys
Yeah,
coming down and doing work again, showing why Danny and I commentating this, not participating.
exactly. Yeah, super solid choice, I guess. I guess I didn't know that they were in reserve. So maybe my opinion would be different. I don't know. I still don't necessarily like those units. I'd rather have more dudes. I don't care if I can't kill anything. What matters is that I just hold all the objectives forever.
Junith jumping into the now.
Nice. Smack people with that big mace. You know, for an older lady, she's pretty spry.
She uses her floating walker to just boop into people.
The hover rascal, yeah, dude, she's all about it.
Hover rascal. Yeah, I too wish I'd recorded Danny saying I'd rather have more dudes on the table. Yeah,
Oh, man.
We see the guard going up to secure that objective.
Yeah, the cool thing about Junith too is since she is a vehicle, that means that she gets to shoot the twin heavy flamers that she has into combat, which is pretty neat.
That's gross, but I love it so. So really, that's a great defensive option for there because he's gonna have to Zach's gonna have to make a big play to clear Chuck off of that objective. He's gonna think twice if he has to go in and get multiple heavy flamer shots to the face.
Right. Well, hopefully, what he can do since he removed the real retributor threat there, is that he can clear that objective. Zach can clear that objective on his next turn. There doesn't look to be a ton of combat threat on there. Looks like there's just 2 Repentia left, maybe. And then after he clears that, he can shoot Junith with something like I don't know, like a Manticore. Junith Junith hates to be shot by Manticores. That's one of her only weaknesses, actually.
Giant missiles, her only weakness. And then
turns out
we'll just be wrong again, where it'll be like the wrecked Manticore with one wound left that does the final stuff to
Of
Junith.
course, yeah, that would be the
course.
clincher, right?
The clincher, yeah.
I'm gonna pull up
Oh,
Junith's data sheet here. Let's see how good she is.
let's do that.
All
And
right,
then with
so man,
scores are
she's
being added in. Chuck,
okay.
after his turn, he is at 24, 5 for primary, 19 for secondary. Really, man, Zach did such a good job denying Chuck for primary that turn. Zach scored 10 on primary, able to grab that bottom one and maintain the one in his deployment zone, and 14 for secondary. So we have a tie game right now. It's
Ooh,
24
yeah,
24.
that is spicy. I love it. Close
Some
games are always
real
the best.
some real solid plays from both guys there.
So let's see. So let's talk about Junith here for a second, since she's probably going to be pretty central. Now, the Hover Rascal gives her a movement of 10 inches, which is pretty fast. I didn't think Rascals really got a top speed of anything close to that. Like,
Well,
that's only
Danny, it's
2 inches shorter than a guy with a jetpack, like an
well,
actual jetpack.
Danny, it's fully charged, so it goes about same distance as a blight hauler now. So about that same, and it seems to be a standard movement now for these smaller vehicles. Would be that 10 inches, and even
Yeah,
we're
that's
seeing
fair.
now with demon princes with wings are kind of maxing out at 10 as well.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the Death Guard has the well, I figured it was because that guy was chubby, he was a little bit slower than a normal demon prince, but maybe it's just his wings aren't quite as it just doesn't have it's too fat for the wings, I guess, or something. I don't know. Junit does have a hefty 7 wounds. Um
Toughness 4, which is super good for sisters. I don't think that means those guardsmen are winning her on 5s on close combat.
dude, Junith thick. Junith hella
Uh,
thick.
4 attacks. The Mesa Castigation is going to have her hitting at strength 5, AP -1, 2 damage. The 2 damage isn't such a huge thing, but that -1 is really going to mess with those guardsmen.
Yeah, going from a 5 up to a 6 up, literally it takes their save and cuts it in half. Um
uh, and then she rerolls hit rolls of and wound rolls of 1. So she's going to hit. She has a 4 up and vulnerable. She's a little beat stick in there, and especially with what she's facing. I think Zach has to charge in with his guardsmen. But Eunice is going to be a real problem, especially if she survives to the point where she can start flaming. I think one saving grace he has is those are 3 special weapon squads up there, so she can like ace like all of them in one turn of close combat shooting.
Right. Good call there, John. Now it might be hard to kill her. I'm not sure. I think that she might be able to get back up if she dies. Um, but maybe she can't because she's a vehicle. I'm not sure. I'm gonna double check that one there. Nope, I'm wrong. It specifically lists her as a unit that cannot get back up from that stratagem. The divine intervention. So she cannot get back up from death. Once she gone, she gone.
We can only assume that the hover rascal ran out of juice, and no amount of praying can recharge that.
That's right.
Danny, I'm enjoying this new narrative we're forming. Shoot it.
Hey man, you gotta forge your own narrative.
And also to thank all you guys for sticking around through as we work through a bit that will no doubt show up later on.
No kidding. Hey, so what do you guys think? This is a tied ball game. Who do you who do you think is in the lead? Um, taking bets on who's going to end up pulling this game out. There's just not a lot left on the table for either player.
No, and you can place your bets at charityhammer.com. Any bet placed with $30 or more lets you enter a raffle to win some amazing prizes. Because again, all these guys are donating their time to come and play an amazing RTT put on by the Best Infection podcast, and donating their time to help hammer out cancer and do some real good for our community and also some cancer charities.
Absolutely. Yeah, a really great cause. So donate if you can. Um, just definitely check out charityhammer.com. If you want to donate directly, you don't even have to go to the website. You can go to paypal.me. / charity hammer and send in a donation.
And then Twitch chat mad at us for being funny because they're trying to paint detail on miniatures. That's why all my miniatures look terrible. Is because
Oh, that's
I'm
why. That
I'm
must be
always
it.
because I'm always laughing. It's my joyousness.
Oh man. uh that's what they
Oh,
always say. ABL, always be laughing.
ABL. Pit Daddy Paul no longer at the table, so just me and Danny here. Looks like we are trying to see what's going on here.
Can
Lots
we
of
not
talking.
call him Pit Daddy Paul, please? I just like to say that right now. That makes me very uncomfortable.
I feel he would enjoy that though.
Oh, he's
So,
absolutely down with that.
so some real serious conversation here between Chuck and Zach, and especially when games are this close, it's super important to talk out your moves with your opponent, so both people know exactly what's happening. Like like he's pointing out my 10 if I'm going to shoot here with here, if I move from here to here. But being very clear at this stage of the game is really crucial. You don't want to win or lose because you forgot to kind of, or you didn't go quite close enough and you're like a quarter inch out.
Right. Yeah, making sure that you're double checking those distances. Be Santa Claus. Check those distances, measure them twice. Um, I don't know. I mean, you'll the naughty or nice thing doesn't really take effect into this scenario, but you know what
No,
I'm saying.
not with Paul away from the table, but it looks like Seraphim's coming down here to try and take care of those guardsmen on that very bottom, which Danny, you pointed out earlier would be like a really good play to make. I think you pointed out that one in his home base advantage, home objective would be the two to go for.
Yeah, and it looks like those looks like the unit of Repentia coming in from strategic reserve. I believe there's another Battle Sister squad there as well. So smart play there to make sure that you can try and get those guys in there to hold objectives. And then we still got a couple of other deep strikers to know where they are, and they are having to come in this turn.
They
It's
have to
now or
because
never.
they have to shore up those objectives, otherwise they're just going to lose primary, and you can't afford to do that, especially when we talked about this at the start. Neither of them are going to have super high scoring secondary, so primary is going to win or lose the game for these guys on this one. Nuclear Tater tells us, is there a link to any of the terrain that they're using in this tournament? I'm not sure. Danny, do you recognize this terrain?
To me, this looks like frontline terrain, frontline gaming, FLG gaming terrain. I believe that's what this is, right? I'm not
I
familiar with it though.
I think it's a mix. It does look familiar.
I think that's at least
Let,
I think that's where the crates are from, the ones in the middle.
mhm.
And the little square buildings are the toppers
Yeah.
for the field base, right?
Yeah, so this looks like a mixture of a couple different frontline kits. Those guys do amazing kits there. It looks like I think the industrial sector, and then also a few of the field base ones in there too.
Yeah. Um, I'll try and get that information for you though. I'll ask Colin if he knows. Shoot him a little personal message on here.
Oh man, look at you! You got an M with the bosses. Uh, all right, so we have some shooting. Looks like here from our sisters. And the nice thing again, miracle dice mean that we could drop those guys down and guarantee their charge. And 12-inch charge is going to give them a lot of free movement.
Man, that is huge. And getting on that objective too, potentially. What a big deal. Yeah, I had to switch. So funny story. I had to switch to watching this game on my phone. Because my Twitch on my computer just like doesn't like it very much. So streaming from the computer, watching it on my phone. where John is having to switch to 4 different devices to keep up this commentary. But you know what? We're in it. We love doing this.
We're
We're
in it.
happy that we're here. We're happy you guys are all here. This is a good time.
We're happy this is such a tight, close game with some really great plays.
Heck yeah.
A lot of the time you read loser bracket and you start to kind of worry about the quality of it, but both Chuck and Zach are pulling out some amazing, just really great plays. We saw that with the guardsman capturing that bottom objective, and we see that with the way that Chuck is desperately holding on to that top one. Battle Lines is a great mission where just you need to control 2 or more for 10 points. And if he can hold on to those, that's a super easy way to get primary going.
Absolutely. I'm trying to see where these jump pack sisters came in at. Maybe they're down on the
Did,
bottom.
didn't he put them on the bottom there, or is that just a crack graphic?
God, there's so many things there. No, I mean there's a bunch of units down there. I just don't know what's what. I think there's a unit of 9 Repentia there. And then maybe a Battle Sister squad is what it looks like. Maybe those are Seraphim. I don't even know anymore. You know what? It doesn't matter that much. You can see that one Retributor squad got really hurt. And the Hospitaler, which is basically like their apothecary, has healed some models back to it. And there's another Retributor squad that came in on the upper left hand or the upper right hand side from Strategic Reserve. So there's still more multi-meltas. I'm surprised
Luckily,
they didn't go on the bottom though to try and take down that Lehman Russ.
for sure, yeah.
Maybe
Because
he
we have
measured it. That's out of range or something. That's the
one
only thing.
heavily wounded Manticore in the back. We have one full wound Manticore in the back. And then that Lehman Russ is the last big tank threat on that table hiding in that ruin. That ruin does have a window, so he's been sitting there all game, just kind of taking pot shots out that window.
Right. Windows are famously able to have tanks shot through them. Especially tanks with sponsons. They don't have to shoot out of anything else, just a window.
And again, we're seeing Chuck sort of struggle here, like Zach's last game with engage in all fronts, where he's not making kind of the headway to really score that in any kind of consistent manner. And bringing down those Repentia at the very bottom, yeah, maybe get those 2 points in.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure.
Because at this point, we're scrapping for like any point imaginable, and I think both of them realize how hard their secondaries are to score.
Oh, I know, right? Yeah, I know that those Repentia can make that charge. So they're definitely going in this turn. Like almost certainly. I would love to be a fly on the wall and know exactly what's going through each of their heads right now. I think Zach can clear that flank with plasma, but it's going to be like a race to that objective. Is there enough time in the game for them to move onto the objective and and live there? I don't know. I don't think he has enough models to do that.
And especially if he clears off that objective, we see in that top right hand corner, there's a whole lot of Battle Sisters ready to jump in and kind of restock. I don't think he has enough shooting to clear it all out. On the plus side, we have seen him earlier, like the way Zach plays. If he's able to move fast enough and far enough, he'll be able to block off that objective. So we might be in a situation where you see one of those special weapons squad moving in order to really block off that objective and kind of forego their shooting.
That's true, and just kind of nuke their shooting attacks just to make sure that they can score some objective points. Yeah, that's a good point.
And as we see on the left-hand side of the table there, we're down in Manticore. Manticore got taken off the table.
Yep.
But also looks like it didn't blow up, so that other Manticore is quite safe and still
So that's
able
a positive.
to fire obnoxiously from out of line of sight. Still doing those flat 3 damage. So any vehicle left on the table has got to watch out.
Oh yeah. And man, it'll do work for sure. Yeah, I'm really excited to see what the next plays of this game are, because it's been a constant trading game, right? Where they're just trading
Hmm.
units on objectives back and forth over and over again.
And again, that squad in the bottom right-hand corner is going to definitely, I believe that's going to be the squad that's going to use the miracle dice to guarantee that charge, because Chuck really needs to clear that objective. The question at that point there is 12 inches going to be enough to get him close enough to reach out and touch the Lehman Russ?
That's a great question. I don't
So
have a
if
good
he
answer.
was if he was able to do a 12-inch charge from that squad, and then do a 3-inch consolidate, would the further, so that would be like 18 inches. That board's like what, 40, 60 inches wide? No, I don't think that's going to be enough to get it there. So then he's going to have the issue of having these squads out in the open, because he has to consolidate towards the Lehman Russ. So then he's just trading that off again. When we look at his home objective, there's a bunch of guys there ready to light them up.
They're going to be ass in the wind, which is a dangerous place to be in a world with Manticores and Lehman Russ tanks.
Tanks famously immune to wind.
Right.
And that's not any Lehman Russ. That's a heavy stubborn Lehman Russ.
Oh yeah, don't forget.
It'd be
You know what? I wouldn't even charge those Repentia into the tank. He's just going to crush them all anyway. It doesn't even matter.
squad white.
I've seen it before. Broodlords, whatever. Lictors, done it. Like it doesn't even care.
Now we're seeing these the special weapon squad coming out of the ruins here. Again, I think roadblocking a little bit to make sure that Lehman Russ is protected, because as soon as those Repentia or those squad in the bottom right makes that charge, is it going to wipe out the guardsman? Yeah, but it's going to leave itself out in the open and just ready to get shot up. And it looks like we have, I think, just one squad in that lot of bottom right hand
Oh
corners.
no. Wait, what just happened?
He moved to tank.
No, I know, but Chuck didn't make that charge.
No. Well, I mean, we just move. Yeah, because Chuck's turn ended. Did he elect not to charge? I think he elected not to charge.
Maybe he felt like it was an unchargeable distance.
Or, like, because I think he has to climb over the container, right?
I figured that he could still go around it if he used a 12-incher.
But,
I
like,
mean, 12
and maybe
inches solves a lot of problems.
and causes even more. But if you look at the trade-off here, yeah, he could give up that squad to take those people off the objective, but there's that special weapon squad there. There is that Lehman Russ. That squad isn't long for the world if it takes it. So maybe it wasn't worth taking it that turn.
Yeah, and maybe the tank can't gain a line of sight through the door of many tank shells at those squads. I don't know. Maybe it can though. That's why it moved. I'm not sure. Man, brutal. I think watch out because Zach's pulling out the good dice here. You can see him moving.
They're nice, toasty, fresh out of the micro. No, I'm kidding. No one is using bad dice.
This time.
Chuck still has a lot of miracle dice left. So maybe he's saving those for Judas saves. Yeah, a little unsure why he didn't charge in with there or whatever squad that is in the bottom right.
It looks like he ended up killing some of the models too. So there's only one guardsman sitting on the objective now, and I think there were 7.
Did he kill himself out of charge range?
That's possible. I could see that happening.
And Zach here looking to target that last rhino to maximize his bring it down. Um,
Point.
and then point, and then continue to just hold objectives to get that mission specific vital ground.
Sean, what do you think at rhinos at only giving up 1 point for bring it down?
I think it's good because when you're making lists, like the transports are huge and vehicles in general. There's a lot of armies with little vehicles now. Um, And the fact that they only give up one now means that you're more likely to take them, and we're going to see them more on the table. I don't think that you should have like a unit, like a little 70-point unit, like a Rhino, lose you the game for taking it. And that's what we were seeing is people were just auto taking, bring it down because it was easy to max.
I 100% agree. I'm very interested to see what builds look like when people kind of get a better idea of what's going on. I think Mechanized Sister seems like it's very good. It's a lot of good play there.
For sure. And like I said, anything that encourages you or doesn't limit your army building is great. I don't feel you should have to look at a book and be like, well, I can't take this because I lose 15 points if I take it. That's just a bad feel.
Oh, sorry. I was kind of leaning back in my chair. Sorry, guys. Oh,
And
yeah. I bet JT is saying, as a Mechanized Dark Eldar player, I'm over the moon.
yeah, for
no
sure,
point.
because you're not just automatically giving up 15 points because of your army, regardless of the build, which is kind of like that a super nice feeling, and it's really cool to see them do those FAQs to the secondaries so quickly, to really kind of rebalance the game, seeing an issue right away.
All right, guys. Put an F in chat for Junith. She
Oh,
gone.
big F.
Yeah.
She's Scooty Puff Jr. to the sky.
Right.
Scooty Puff Jr. So where does this put Chuck now that big buffing character is gone? That was giving all of those sisters that 5-up invulnerable bubble. What's he gonna have to do now?
I'm not sure. I was thinking Zach is on the back foot, but this is pretty even. We'll have to see. God, we'll have to see what happens. Hey, chat, what do you guys think? Tell us in the chat where you think the game is. Yeah, right. Rip, Rascal, and Peace.
Well, we don't have Pit Daddy down there to tell us what the score is this exact moment. But I still think it's super close. But that loss of Junith is huge.
Yeah, that character really held the army together. So
And
getting rid of it,
and
tough.
another great call by Zach in Target Priority, who's just showing like some really good choices.
Yeah, he is. He's definitely shooting and killing the right things.
And then agree horticulture. It's a little hard to tell what some of the things are on screen here apart from the vehicles. Sadly, we couldn't call the Imperial Night Game, which would have been my choice, and then I wouldn't be able to tell what weapons they have. But still super close. And again, come down to this big fight in the middle.
So I
I
think there's a Battle Sister squad and a Rhino with a Hospitaller in the middle. There's a Retributor squad and I think another Battle Sister squad in that building there. I think
at the
in
very
the
top, right?
yeah, and then I think in the center L building in the Sisters deployment zone, I think that's where his Crusaders are. I'm not 100% on that, but I assume that's what they are. And then in the lower right hand side, we have another 5-man Battle Sister squad, and then what's left of the Repentia over there, which are going to probably die here in a minute. That's my assumption. And then on the left hand side, it looks like there are guardsmen. Maybe they're even. It looks like there's a preacher up there with 2 wounds on him, and then maybe a couple of the conscripts left, or maybe the infantry squad that jumped up there, and then we have a bunch of special weapons and command squads with plasma guns. On the top left, moving down, we have it appears to be the Zephyrin banner close to that Manticore. I'm not sure what's going on there. That might just be a crack in the mat too. That is hard to see. I agree. And then there's. Go ahead.
I was gonna say JT saying that he thinks if Chuck can get to the Manticore, it's his. Can he though? And then I want to add to that. Would it make a difference if he got to the Manticore?
Is this turn
Because
3 or turn 4? This is turn 3, right?
this is turn 3. I mean, the Manticore does work, but if you look at it, I think there's multiple sister squads that are about to jump on that top objective. The Zach is firmly holding the bottom objective and his home objective. And then Chuck isn't going to be losing his home objective and his deployment zone with his Crusaders hiding in there. So if he gets the Manticore, that would be great, but I don't think it makes a huge difference to overall scoring, especially with their secondary choices. Zach having Bring It Down and Chuck not, it would to get rid of some shooting and save a couple units, but at this stage of the game, what do you think, Danny?
All right. So I think Chuck has to push onto the objective so he can score turn 5 still. But if I were Zach on turn 4, I would just leave what I have. And actually, I might even move off of objectives and just hide. And then because remember, at the end of turn 5, second player scores. So, and then move back onto all the objectives at the end of turn 5 and score like 15 points on primary. That'd be my
And
plan.
that's a great play, but this is using kind of the quote unquote new rules, the FAQ GT packet. And do you think that's something that is going to be kind of a muscle memory or a thought for those guys right now?
No, yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm just kind of learning that stuff as we go here. Like as we keep playing. So I'm still kind of trying to figure out the best way to move my models and get to the places I need to be. Um, like on any one given turn, depending on whether I'm going first or second. So it's definitely not a gimme. We'll see what happens. Looks like they're
Looks like,
tallying up score.
looks like we're going to get an update here in a second about where we're sitting at. I think it's going to give us a hugely clearer picture about what's going to be needed to
Absolutely.
win out. Surprising knowing that where we are in the game is what decides what we need.
Shockingly
big if
so.
big if true.
I think Zach got a bunch of secondary points this turn.
Yeah, with his bring it down, grind it down, and even the vital intel.
Yeah, I think
He
Vital
is
Intel is worth 4 points this turn for him.
because you score 3 victory points if you control your opponents, and then 2 victory points for each objective mark if you control that is not in either player's deployment zone. So right now, I think he's just earning 2, because he only controls the bottom deployment zone, and you don't score for the one in your own deployment zone.
Oh, so it's not his model that's on the that's on the objective in the top, over to the left-hand side. I think that's a guardsman model on the objective next to the crate.
Oh, yeah. So he's getting 4 points this turn for that.
Yeah. I might.
Did
Let's
he go
see if
first or
we're.
second though? I think
Zach went second.
Zach went second, so yeah, even better because it's the end of the battle round that scored too, so he might get 4 points for that.
I need to figure out. So Chuck is moving, so I don't know if we're going to get a score update. Let me message both of those guys and see if I can get a score update from them.
And Danny filling in on a wonderful roving reporter in the field, using his secretive inside contacts to get the real scoop behind the game. And you see that sister squad there on that bottom objective. Move around a little bit, but not try and get on the objective there.
We'll see if people's phones going off will help.
I was gonna say, our intrepid tableside reporter Danny chasing down leads, figuring stuff out.
We got to get these guys to keep in the game. They're not the only ones playing. Everybody else is watching, having a good time. I've been called many worse things than that on this stream, even.
But no, to your face. I'm cowardly.
As I said yesterday, where is Paul Winters? A lot of registries want to know the answer to that question.
Most importantly, Bed Bath and Beyond registry wants to know.
He never picked up his loofah.
It looks like Zach's sitting at 46 points is the update, but I believe Chuck has more than 24.
Yeah, I think so too. Maybe they're just going through and updating that as well.
We're very needy and demanding on stream too.
The worst kind. Man, Chuck might not have scored primary. I don't know.
He's gonna get at least 5 points for primary, which I think is
Oh,
actually
here we go.
reflected.
We're getting updating right now.
Okay. So it looks like
Okay,
he
he
has
got
34.
Okay. And we'll see if the secondary is updated as well here.
Which, looking at Chuck, he had raised banners, engage in all fronts, and thin their ranks. I think he's gonna get some from engage. Or no, because yeah, he got killed off of that top center objective. So I think
Well,
16 might be accurate for him.
remember, engage is done at the end of player turn, so it's not battle round. Oh, so he's only got 16 secondary. Maybe that was a typo last time we had 19.
Yeah. So yeah, 31 Chuck, 46 to Zach.
Oh man, Zach might pull this out.
Which I think, as long as Zach just needs to really focus on holding objectives at this point here, I think he's done a really good job with secondary points with what he chose, and just using those primary choices. And even if all he does is hold the 2 objectives on the bottom left-hand corner, that's going to be enough to take the game.
Yeah, that's totally fair. Yeah, but he's got to concentrate on that. That's got to be.
It's going to be
his
priority
main focus.
numero uno.
Right.
So if you're in that position, do you almost give up the top objective to protect the bottom 2?
Man. Well, I don't think so. Hey, how's it going? Oh, cool. No worries. Okay, so Chuck only has 16 secondary points? Oh, I see. Okay, that makes sense. Oh, so those will pop up at the end, and as they should, and that's totally fine. Okay.
Okay, so if thin the ranks is maxed, which as you obviously do at the end of the game, then it's still a tied game. That makes it
That's
46-46 still, right?
Yeah. That's spicy.
Or 45. Well, 45-46.
Yeah, for sure. A 1-point game
Which-
is always gonna be close.
Which every single turn, so we're starting turn 4 now. So 3 turns in, every turn they've either been tie or within 1 point of each other.
That's solid. So it looks like the top objective though, John, I think is gonna be hard to for Zach to get rid of that model sitting there. The Battle Sisters are in the L.
Mm-hmm.
So they're scoring that objective and are or maybe those are I think those are retributors. But they're scoring that objective and keeping that tight. So it's going to be tough for them to get rid of that.
So if you are Zach, do you focus your Manticore on that Sister Squad at the top, or do you shoot at the
Absolutely.
Rhino?
No, you shoot the retributors at the top 100%. I think because you want to be able to score primary, and he's got so many points tied up on making sure that he's controlling those 2 center objectives. Those are worth a lot of points every turn. 4 secondary points is nothing to sneeze at, and you really should have to push for that.
Yep, thank you, Milk Bag. Gurney, a 1-point game will always be close, and it's top quality.
Yeah,
Top
Yogi Bear.
quality. It's top quality commentary like that is why I'm here.
That's why I make the big bucks, guys.
Heck yeah. And talking about big bucks, charityhammer.com, paypal.me/charityhammer. Donate whatever you can. For every $30 you donate, you get entered into a prize pool to win one of some amazing prizes. Danny, what's your favorite prize this 10-minute period of time?
All right, so for this 10-minute period of time, I'm going to highlight those orcs. That seems like a fantastic combat patrol that you can get your hands on. 15 orc boxes.
Makes a great kill team.
Yeah, for sure. It's just a kill team. The DACA jets, especially, make for an exciting addition to your kill team. So yeah, it's for every $30 you donate gets you 1 raffle ticket, and all these proceeds are going to the family of Vincent Price, as well as what is it? The Fred Hutchinson Cancer Research Fund. So you're giving to a good cause. It's Vince is definitely a big member of the local community there. Who has a pretty serious diagnosis of cancer. So it's going to his family. So anything that you donate is super helpful and is super appreciated. Plus, you get entered into these into the drawing for some extra raffle prizes, so that's always good. So right now, to recap, we have Battle Sisters, played by Chuck, versus Zach's Pure Imperial Guard. These 2 armies have both lost 1 game, but that's it. So they're fighting out in the losers bracket to take on that top prize, to maybe get a chance at redemption and fight against the winner of the winners bracket, and take all for all the marbles, all the glory. So we'll see if either one of these armies can really compete and take that.
And it's been a slogfest so far. That center table has just been trading units for units. We've had to see like a huge amount just invested. Zach using the vital intel secondary, the mission specific one, means he has to hold that center of the board. And even Chuck with raised banners, thin the ranks and engage in all fronts, really pushing everything into the center of that board. And if you look at their deployment zones, very little is there. We have that Lehman Russ in the bottom left, kind of hiding from multi-meltas. It has a little window it can shoot through. The Manticores doing Manticore things hiding in the back. And then for the sisters, all that's left in that deployment zone is a Rhino and a couple of Crusaders.
That's right. And we watched this guard army, despite some extremely cagey plays by Tyler, just crush some Tyranids in the losers bracket, as well as Chuck just really putting the stomp on Paul's Slanesh models. So these are both really great players, really cagey players. Zach is a super good aggressive player. He really knows how to move his pieces to maximum effect and really kind of exploit the advantage that he has in the numbers game.
And we see that with Zach right now, just shoring up that bottom objective, moving even more bodies onto it, and really making a play. And then if we look at the top objective there too, he's almost wrapping around with those special weapon squads. So we have 3 special weapon squads up at the very top, and they're making a play for those sisters hiding behind those containers.
Brutal. Yeah, so we'll see if it's going to pay off for him. I think it will. I think this might clinch it for him, to be honest. Which is super exciting. What a close game. Every round has been either tied or within 1 point. So we've had some super close battle rounds here. And Chuck has been rolling phenomenally well in his miracle dice. He just can't even use them fast enough, right?
Oh no, absolutely. So what do you see? What's Chuck's play here? What's Chuck have to do to maximize? And again, with Chuck's secondary of engage all fronts, thin their ranks and banners, which again, he's pretty much maxed out thin their ranks already, just as the way that Zach's army is composed. But how is he going to maximize his game for this?
Okay, so honestly, I think I think Chuck is in for a tough road here. Because I think he's definitely lost the bottom. I can't really see a way that he's going to take that back, especially with all the infantry models he's able to fit back on there. And I think he's going to be able to kill some more models with those battle sisters than the Lehman Russ tank. The top objective is a little bit more contested, but if Zach were to leave one of those models alive and charge special weapon squads on there, I think that's pretty good for him. And then that's going to deny Chuck on the last turn. And then Zach is going to be able to score at the end of his turn, so he has a chance to clear off any kind of resistance that Chuck mounts, and really take charge of those objectives, which is so powerful. So even if Zach blows up the last rhino that's hanging out on Chuck's back objective, there is a sister hospitaler there who is just going to hang out and probably control that. So unless she
And
gets
then
nuked by a manticore or something.
yeah, and there's 3 units in that area because we have those, we believe anyway, the 2 Crusaders
Oh,
are in
there's
that building.
Crusaders back there, I think.
There's
Yeah,
a hospital. So there's 3 units on Chuck's home base. I don't see that one going away. And it
right.
doesn't really benefit Zach to like push him off of it there. With vital ground really kind of giving him points for holding those 2 middle objectives, all of his attention's gone there. And we can kind of see that by how he's played this game.
Yeah, and just playing for the middle of the table instead of trying to push out past there. He doesn't have to. He doesn't have to get in every single zone. So maybe Chuck had made a mistake by taking something like engage on all fronts, because this army was just kind of able to stymie him and make sure that he wasn't able to score any of those points.
There was a human wall of lane blocking with just so many conscript bodies.
Exactly, John.
So, Danny, if you are Chuck and you were the sisters players into this, what secondaries do you choose?
I think Chuck chose good secondaries, except for the because he chose raise the banners.
Yeah.
I think that was that was not a great choice. Man, that's tough. This the guard army only gives up 8 points for bring it down, 2 manticores and 3 Lehman Russes, so 10 points for bring it down.
But then if you look at it as well, the way the terrain's backed out, it's really hard. And especially the way he's hiding those tanks right now, that if you did bring it down, those tanks are going to be really hard to shift.
Yep. Keep in mind though, this game is going to be ending in the next like 5 minutes here, so they may not get a round 5, which is unfortunate. I think they may try and talk it out.
Yeah, I certainly hope they do. And then thankfully, I believe we have Tyler there on screen, so we can hear them talk that through and figure out what's happening there.
Yeah. Thank God for Tyler.
A literal champion among men. And here's our time check. If you look at the top right of your screen. But honestly, some really good 40K.
Yeah. Yeah, always. Man, we've had some really great games today. And there's still more to come.
Yeah, after this, Danny and I continue on stream 2, the sequel, with I think
The
the squeakquel, absolutely. And then we have over in stream 1 there the winners bracket, but like really high level 40K though the whole time. And the best thing about this is every single game is going to be available on the Canhammer Twitch stream. Is going to be available on the Best in Faction podcast Twitch stream. And forever, in about a month's time, it'll be all over YouTube, so you can relive these games. And if you are a Tyranid player, the last game, which was Zach versus Tyler, had some really good plays that you should definitely check out there. And then just as a guard player, some of the things that Zach is pulling out here, just super quality plays.
Absolutely. I'm really excited to see how this ends up. I think Zach has it, but I guess we'll see in a few minutes here.
And then if you look at the chat, I think we see Taylor, who can't even read the name of on my screen, but just the comment makes me think it's Taylor.
Oh, it's for sure him.
Yeah.
I don't understand what salad is all about. Good evening, Snowflake.
I'm not going to reply to that because I'm not a gentleman. So that wasn't directed at me. That's fine.
Oh man.
No, Paul, stop. That's just a chat reference.
Oh, so
do you have intel?
Yeah, there you
from the
go,
table side,
gentlemen and miscellaneous. That's the way better way to
perfect.
describe it.
I'm a
You've done it.
miscellaneous right here.
Congratulations. So we're watching just the final throws of this game. Truck trying to squeeze out every single point that he possibly can, and potentially deny Zach some points. I'm not sure exactly what Chuck's going to be able to do here. These guardsmen can move on to these objectives on the last turn and really push for it.
Well, I think it
Chuck,
looks like right now Chuck has 2 objectives, so that's good for 10 if he can keep those sisters alive.
I don't even know. Did he hold 2? I don't think he did. I think he only held the 1, so I think he only had like a 5
only got
point.
5, which is going to be real tough because this turn Zach is going to be maxing out primary.
Just that new turn structure, that second player has a really great last turn if they're able to hold some stuff in reserve.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, guard went second, and were actually, which was really good for them. I watched the first game and guard went first, and that was also really good for them. So the nice thing about Zach's army is it doesn't matter when he goes, he just gets to just gets to be good and hold objectives and have lots of board control. So a real solid army for sure. It's nice to see guard being awesome. Okay, great.
Actually show your dudes.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys are live.
Oh, yes, we're live. Okay, so we'll get
If there is player audio, we are not hearing it.
Let's see here.
Are you hearing it now? Oh, they stopped talking. That's fine.
Talk, dang it. Tell us what happened.
Oh, we're at the arithmetic stage of the game?
We are.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Got 42.
Okay.
All right. I guess we're gonna after this game ends, we're gonna be hopping over to channel 1 to do. I think we're doing a winners game, John.
I don't think so. I think we're this channel still.
No, we just got a message on Discord.
Oh, okay.
No,
well,
turn. Unless you didn't shoot it one turn.
We'll give it a minute here and get the final score, and then we'll hop over.
Okay.
Yeah,
Standing in
we'll hop
combat.
over there.
It saved a rocket just for this.
Okay.
I want to help you.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
I mean, we have to try now, Danny.
2-4 this turn.
Wait, you weren't trying already?
Are you guys not getting
I get 10 points in the primary.
Because you're going to end up taking this one, that one.
Oh, and the target.
You're going to get domination. I killed 1, 2, 3 units.
There's some very aggressive terrain touching going on.
It's going to be hard for me to go fourth.
My favorite kind of touching. Usually you have to pay extra for that.
Oh, no.
So you get 45 on the primary. That's better than my score.
You went bad, huh?
Yeah. 10.
We are not hearing the table. I'm not sure what's going on there. So what does the score look like, Tyler? Can you give us a rundown?
They're still
30
score right now.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Thank you.
I'm not sure where I hear the table.
It's just this microphone not being loud enough. So the score ends with me getting 42 points and Zach getting 79 points.
And Chuck's reward is he doesn't have to keep playing.
So
Well, thank you.
That's a reward that sounds very appealing.
can I see the score sheet? Chuck?
Yeah.
So I think there are two things that really went on here. I think my secondary is going to be much more achievable.
Your secondary is more achievable. My plan was bad.
You made a couple big mistakes in the beginning that set you up forever really hard.
Oh no, I mean not just mistakes. My overall approach was flawed at its core.
Sure.
I don't think once I made my secondary choices and deployed my army, I had lost the game. I just didn't know it until we got
Okay.
Dang.
Oh
Wow.
okay.
What a-
That's not gonna work.
You have very short on time. You need to pack up your army and go to the other table.
Alright,
Yeah, maybe that's possible.
You have like 10 minutes.
What a great game,
No,
though.
I'll pack up your army. You can take a break. But don't go on for longer than like.
For sure. It's funny. Chuck lost points like every round.
That's how you know quality wins.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess Danny, are we going to call it here?
Yeah, I think we're good. Hey, thanks for tuning in. If you guys want to keep listening to us, check us out on stream number 1. Tyler, are you playing on stream 2 next?
Hey, Chuck, thanks again. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. Okay, cool. Thanks, Paul.
We had the beginning of the
Okay,
game
cool.
and everything went
Yeah.
exactly
And
the way
then
that
I guess
you
we're going to, in
needed
12
to,
minutes,
and
we'll
you
see
were
everyone
happy
over on the
for
BitPod
and then
stream.
I went, oh, wait,
All right. We'll see you then. Have a good one, guys.
Oops,
See you later.
thanks, guys.
Basically, yes.
I'm from